Right then, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome back to another Minecraft Update podcast with me, FoxyNoTail, and of course, SlackLizard. How are you doing, Slack?
Doing great today, Foxy. How are you doing?
I am doing very well, thank you very much. It's nearly Christmas. Can you believe it?
No. Where did this year go? Where did this year go, Foxy?
I don't know. I honestly can't tell you. I'm sure it was only just Christmas last year. You know, it's weird. Well, I say last year. You know what I mean. Do you know this podcast coming out on Christmas Eve?
You know, we're recording this on pretty much the 3-year anniversary of the first chats of TB.
Gee, what, 3 years since we... Oh, my. Crikey.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty crazy to imagine, isn't it? Pretty crazy.
It is. So have you got all your Christmas presents and things ready? You've got everything they need or they want?
I literally tell everybody pretty much the same thing every year. Don't buy me Christmas. I love you. I'd rather just spend the evening with you all sitting down watching a movie, a good Christmas movie like Die Hard or something like that. You know, don't buy me gifts. I don't need gifts. Don't buy me something where I'm going to have to try to pretend that I like it and I didn't want it. You know, maybe I'm odd like that though.
Wow.
Would you rather me be truthful or lie?
No, I totally understand you. I really do. I get it. This is the first year. I'm the opposite to you. This is the first year I've actually had a wish list. Normally, I'm exactly like that. Like, no, I'm all right. I don't really need anything. But this year, I've been trying to penny pinch. So my Amazon things I want, that what I would have normally bought myself, but I haven't done this year, is getting longer and longer. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to Christmas. Although in terms of buying stuff myself, I've still got a few bits to get. It's very hard finding things for people when you're avoiding the shops like the plague. Let's put it that way.
It's like there's a pandemic or something going on out there in the world. Crazy, isn't it?
I know, it is. It is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I could talk about Christmas all day long.
But that's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Exactly. What are we here for, Slack?
Well, we're doing the Minecraft update. And it should be about time to do feedback, maybe? No, we did introductions. Is it feedback time?
Yeah, what did people think of the last one? Have we got anything?
Feedback from the last one, from the comments section. You know what? I'm gonna let you lead off here because we got multiple pages for feedback now.
We got a lot of feedback this time. Not all through. Well, I got a couple of things on the actual email address this time. The what's it called? The email address, the minecraftupdatepod@gmail.com. Yeah, we got a couple of things from that, but mainly from the comments and the Discords. The first one is from The Duck. Great insight the two of you have with this game, and thank you for talking about the bugs. It explains a lot. Thank you, too, for sharing.
That's very nice. I've known the Duck for a while now. Very, very energetic, and the person who wants to learn a lot more about the game. That's for sure. So I could see where the bugs are coming in helpful in regards to that.
Yeah, definitely.
The next one there looks like is from Chris, and it says, I endorse Jesse B as a guest. I think guests are going to be coming in time. I think we got to get used to our flow of this first, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we definitely want to get our own feet together on this. Feet together? Oh, geez, Slack.
Words, they're
it's
difficult.
Going to be one of those
saying.
days. We're going to put our feet together. Yeah, you know what I mean. We need to find our own feet in this first. Get our systems together and get in a flow, and then start bringing in guests. But yeah, I absolutely agree. Jessie be a great guest, and it would be a pleasure to have her on this podcast if she would be so kind as to grace us with that. That would be brilliant.
Absolutely. What do we got next?
Jason Edwards, who says, like the podcast, thanks for the info on the updates and bugs. PSVR has been filled with bugs and items that never work. The inventory menu is shaded to the point you can't see what items are. The spyglass has never zoomed, and so on. I'm not sure why that's feedback, just a rant they wanted to get out by the sounds of things, but thank you anyway, Jason.
PSVR?
PlayStation VR. They'd like play Minecraft on the VR version of PlayStation. Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about playing Minecraft in a VR environment. Could you imagine flying?
I've tried to play it, but I started a new world in survival, and I didn't like it at all. I've heard people say that they've built whole worlds and stuff in it and created it, but no, it's not for me at all.
Right. Next one we got is from Blue Shigatsu here, and really love you two chatting back and forth. The intro blooper style start made me giggle. Would love to see bloopers added into the episodes, like Foxy trolling us into believing something, but he edited it in. Even something edited in like that would be pretty funny. I find these interactions are best. I find when we're genuine for it to be best. You know, we're going to fumble with words. We're going to mess up, but that's what makes us real. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are some things I obviously cut out, like big pauses, or if so, someone's dogs start going absolutely crazy. But generally speaking, if it's something that adds to it and it's funny, then I'll leave it in, absolutely. But I don't think I'd go around creating things to add in to try and be funny. I don't think that would be funny at all. Natural, definitely best.
Yep, naturally. Words. Next.
Wally PC says, love the podcast. Also love all the Minecraft information you two bring to everybody. A lot of people saying we're bringing them a lot of information here, Slack. I didn't realize we were so informative.
How do you go about this? Everybody's going to play Minecraft at different levels, you know, and we have to breathe it more or less with what we do as a living, you know?
Yeah.
So what we may take as something that, hey, you think everybody knows, maybe everybody doesn't know. And it doesn't hurt to bring up those topics every now and again.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I mean, that's why we called it the Minecraft Update, really, is because we want to keep up to date with Minecraft news, bugs, and just things related to Minecraft, really, and things around content creation as well. So, yeah, I think we picked a good name for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And even some of the topics that we covered may not directly relate to Minecraft. Like today, we got a topic about Discord, you know,
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. But it's relevant to what we all do as a community.
Yes, absolutely. Community being the key word there. Anyway, the next one, Slack.
The next one is from Rotated Owlface there, and another highly entertaining waffle from Foxy and Slack. Love it and thanks.
Wow. Saying that we waffle, Slack. Saying that not every word that we say is pure gold and really useful. I can't believe it. Can you?
Did they think we're just putting out filler here just for fun?
I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Right.
Good job, though. Lucky2 says, loving the podcast, y'all. Tadpoles and frogs are a waste of time I have not read this one. A waste of time, in my opinion, when they haven't even added polished andesite / granite / diorite walls yet. Finish the current block palette first before adding another useless mob. They already remade the world. Jeez. And then a laughing face emoji. Okay. Where do we start with this one?
I like this person. Can we get them as like a PR representative? I'm just saying they literally, yes, I agree. Where's the walls we were promised? Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. Have we been promised the polished versions of the walls? I don't think we have. I think that's just another thing that we would like rather than it actually being... I don't think Mojang have gone, we haven't finished that yet, but no, let's move on to the next thing. I just think they think we're not... we weren't planning on doing that, you know? There's a lot of things missing from the game if you decide there should be a variant of everything, but that's just Minecraft, isn't it?
True, and if they gave us everything we wanted, let's be honest, where would we get some of the creativity from? Sometimes part of the challenge is like, oh, you don't have concrete stairs and slabs. How are you going to make this work?
Exactly. And do you know what? I had this conversation in my live stream the other day with people. We were talking about that. Somebody was saying that they play with an add-on for Bedrock Edition that adds in 100 different colors worth of stairs and slabs, as well as walls and all sorts of other things. And I just said, that sounds awful to me. Yes, on one hand, I think if I was going to do something really creative, I've got all of the different shades of a particular color I could do. But what I like about Minecraft is that, okay, I want to have green stairs here. What are my choices? Well, if I want anything that's not a full block, i.e. grass, I'm going to have to start playing with my color palette here. I'm going to have to go get some warped wood stairs, or I'm going to have to do something that's a little bit unusual, which means I've got to then force a new color into my build, which means I've got to try and blend that in some way. So I need to start thinking about how I'm going to design the rest of my build to add this block in, or think about how I'm going to do that staircase with something else. So it starts making me think about the game, makes me think, how am I going to do this to bring this together, rather than just, I've got some green stairs, so I'll chuck them in. Everything would be really boring, I think, if you just had everything you wanted.
I agree. I totally agree. The limitations that are put in actually, I think, make us have to be more creative.
I agree. Lofty, no, this is your one, isn't it? Sorry.
You can go ahead. Lofty is a sweetie that's been part of your community forever, so knock yourself out on this one.
Lofty says, good to hear you and Slack doing a podcast. I'm really enjoying it. Wow, Slack must be scary having tornadoes. Glad you're okay, though. And then she adds a question, which I'll throw in now, since it's part of the, it was kind of feedback. How
Okay.
many? Oh no, well, actually, we forgot this one in the. Forget that, Slack. Forget that. We've got this one already written in the question section. So, Lofty, no, you'll have to wait till later for me to answer your question. Jeez.
Goodness gracious, got me all geared up for a question. Look, I'm glancing at the next comment, and it looks like there's a question in it. What am I supposed to do here?
This one is
Rusty.
the question, but I already responded to this. Right? Do you want to ask? Just read it out first, and then I'll explain my. Yeah, I'm an idiot, basically.
Okay, well, I haven't read this yet. So I love this content. I do have one request. At some point with an old LED display, could you make an animated logo in some way? Or do you have a background gameplay? The logo is beautiful and all, but I'd rather not burn out my TV.
Shall I reread that one for you?
Yes, I struggled. Yes, go for it. Mm-hmm.
Rusty Shackleford, you almost got it. They said, as someone with an OLED TV, so like an organic LED TV, could you make the logo animated in some way or have a background gameplay because I don't want it to be burned into my TV? Basically, they're saying that because they've got a very fancy TV that suffers from burning when it's extra bright stuff, and we've got a logo with bright white in it in places, because the podcast, when they're watching it on YouTube, has just got that logo there the whole time, they're potentially going to suffer from burning on their TV. Now, I thought I'd reply to this because I actually thought this I didn't look. I got this as a comment through on my phone, and I thought this was in response to one of my YouTube videos. And on my YouTube videos, I've got the little like watermark that's got the Foxy logo in the bottom right-hand corner. And so I've already responded to this, but I couldn't find my response, so maybe it didn't save. But what I was going to say is, if you've bought an expensive television to watch podcasts on that have a static screen, there's two things you can do. Turn your brightness down or take it back to the manufacturer and ask them for something that's reliable and not going to get burned in by having, using it for what it's intended to be used for. Or you can listen to the podcast on all sorts of different, audible things rather than just watching it on your TV. It's available on Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and all of the apps as well that go with it, Google Music. So, don't ruin your TV by listening to the podcast. Listen to it.
Fair. Or you could, make the logo move around like a Windows screensaver. Just saying.
Oh, yeah, I'll just do that for the one person that's watching the podcast with an OLED display. No, Slack, no.
Love you too. Just saying. Good talk.
Sorry, Rusty, but I'm lazy, all right? You do it. Send us in an animated one. I'll see what I can do.
Oh my goodness, Foxy! I just scrolled down. I'm gonna get the little bitty one before that from Lucas there with actual email to the Minecraft update.
Yeah,
just saying. It said, I loved your first podcast and hope you do more of them in the future. That email literally came in like 10-15 minutes after we recorded our last one, but I'm really ecstatic about one thing though about that. That was our we got our first fan art for the podcast.
We did. It was a lovely piece of fan art. It was really nice, and it did include a couple of questions as well, which we'll obviously answer in the question section. So yeah, thank you very much, Lucas. That was really appreciated. A very nice surprise to find in the email inbox.
It was. And the next one.
The next one is an entire page long, so I might skim through it a little bit here. But basically, It's from Tyler Babcock, who says, this first little bit is for Foxy. Hi, Foxy. I'm so glad you're back. I loved your previous podcast and was sad to see you go. I listened to I listened to yours latest episode, which is the first episode at the time of this email, and I really like it so far. Now, I just want to say this, I didn't go anywhere. They said they were sadness to see you go. I hadn't gone. I had not left. I didn't put my coat on and walk out the door. I just hadn't made any more podcasts for a while.
A while? How long? How long?
Just a little while. Just a little while.
Yeah, just a year or so, right?
Yeah, I mean, you might think I'd been gone after all that time, but no, I wasn't. I was still there. Anyway,
just doing different types of content, right?
They then go on to. I'm really sorry about this, Tyler, but you then basically list an enormous amount of bugs in Minecraft that you've noticed, but we've got no bug reports for them. They've got no bug trackers for them. So I'm going to skim through them very quickly rather than go into all of the detail you've gone in. Basically saying that they found lots of bugs on Bedrock Edition, which is obviously, par for the course there. One is looking through a spyglass, and apparently the textures glitch in and out when they move around. Another one was when they're flying over a massive ice-covered lake with elytra, they could see water under the ice. And they're just, the general bugs you see on Bedrock Edition. So thank you for pointing those out. By all means, if you can find the bug tracker links for those from the JIRA, I will put them in the show notes. But yeah, I think a lot of them are fairly common ones anyway. But the bit I was more interested in was a really bizarre bit of feedback, but it's some interesting feedback. And it says, I heard you're talking about Minecraft Dungeons. I love the game, and I think that Mojang did a really good job with it. The one thing I will say that is I am notorious for learning how to hack games, hack in inverted commas. I'm not going to hack a multiplayer game or cheat in any way in that regard, but I cheat in my own personal games. So I found a way to cheat in Minecraft Dungeons. A friend of mine is notorious for finding bugs in games. I'm the hacker and he is the bug magnet. Anyway, I think it's a really fun game, and I'm only doing the Cloudy Climb challenges to get the fox pet. I love foxes a lot. They're my favourite animal. Anyways, love the show so far and look forward to your next episode. What do you think about that, Slang?
Interesting. I mean, my brain just went dead on me.
That's right.
It's interesting. Minecraft Dungeons was an interesting game to me, but overall for me, it was a letdown. I was expecting more, what's the word I'm looking for? More Diablo 2, more customization to my inventory and my character than what I got out of it. And I used to be the same way with bugs and hacking games and stuff like that. I mean, but not for years now. So I don't know. Minecraft Dungeons, it says Minecraft in the title, but it kind of goes Minecrafty, but it just that game. I don't know. What do you think?
In terms of hacking the game, if you're doing it for your own fun and you're not affecting things on multiplayer, then absolutely. I was a big fan of, in the olden days, if you had games that had text files where you could change like inventory numbers or weapon stats and things like that, would absolutely fiddle with them and have all sorts of crazy stuff going on. I wouldn't exactly call that hacking, because that was just, editing text files, but I'm sure these days it's a lot different from that. What I'd say about Minecraft Dungeons, though, is that I really love it in the sense that it looks amazing, it feels amazing to play, but my issues with it are, I've never played Dungeon Crawler before that, so I can't compare it to something like Diablo. The inventory management system is awful, and the levels for me are just too long. Me and Oliver, we downloaded all of the updates. We haven't got the Cloudy Climb yet, but we did the Nether one, the End one, and the Underwater one. And we sat down one day to do one of the underwater missions, and we were playing this level for nearly an hour, and we were mainlining it. We weren't like trying to find all the secrets or anything like that. And it was just too long. It was just, I was so bored by the time we got to the end of it. And then you had to go back through it to find the secrets. And I thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go back in and find the secrets. Then we did a Nether one, and the same sort of thing went on. It just went on forever and ever and ever. And it was just really, it was beautiful to look at, but it was just the same rooms over and over again. There was nothing really particularly interesting about it after you'd already seen it all. But then what really annoyed me was that in order to actually use the end ones, you paid for the end DLC. You had to then go back to the main game, go back through all of the old levels you'd done before and find secret areas that hidden in them to find Endermen, like these crazy Endermen, get Ender Pearls off them to be able to go to the end. We did one, which was one of the original levels, found the stuff. It took us nearly an hour to do that one, and I just thought, well, I can't be bothered to do this. I can't spend another 8 hours searching around for this, potentially like not finding anything, just to open another level that I'm going to spend another hour going through. If they were like 10, 15-minute levels, then great, but they just go on way too long for me.
What you were just saying there, that kind of, I don't like what you were saying there. So from my understanding here, you purchased additional DLC for the game, the end update or whatever, so you could go do end missions in the end.
Yeah.
But you had to go back into the core game and find secrets that would allow you to get to the end.
Yes. Find secrets and defeat the baddies at the end of the secrets in order to get the Ender Pearls to get to the end of the game, yes. And they were very hard baddies.
That sounds like it's almost impossible to play without a guide.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the first one we went back to, is it like Creeper Woods or something like that? It's a relatively easy level, but it was well off the beaten track. You had to go through a waterfall, up a hill, over a bit that looked like it was impossible to pass, past loads of hard enemies to then find a cave to go into a building, through the cave system, which was a dungeon, which wasn't an obvious route through, and then eventually you found this crazy Enderman. If you won against him, which we only just did because, I mean, he's 7 and we were playing it on a relatively low difficulty, but I'm not particularly great at that game either. We only just got it, and we got 1 ender pearl, and I think you have to find 8 altogether. So yeah, it looks beautiful, it plays lovely, and I do genuinely enjoy playing it with other people, but for something to just sit down and play casually, it's not my cup of tea at all. It takes way too long.
Yeah, and then it sounds like that you literally need to watch guides and how-tos to even get through some of the levels. No, I don't like that at all. If I put down my money for an expansion, and then that expansion requires me to have to invest in time to watch videos on how to play the expansion, no, next.
I think this could be a case where the developers are genuinely so happy with what they've produced and obviously had such good feedback about it that they just can't imagine anyone not wanting to spend that amount of time in the game exploring to find those things. I think there's a disconnect there where they realize that just not everybody has infinite time to just go in there, and not everyone's got infinite patience with it. You know, not everyone's going to love it quite as much as they do. So I think they do need to reassess that really, and just think, you know, we're wasting a lot of people's time here. Let's give them an option to do this, or an option to just maybe go to the trader and spend some emeralds to get them instead.
Yeah, that's a lot of add-on for. Yeah, that one just feels a little bit on the weird side. Just a little bit on the weird side. The game, though, visually, absolutely beautiful. All kinds of inspiration from that. I mean, the Fiery Forge that we built last season.
Yeah, inspired by that.
The season before that. Season 2.
Yeah.
One of the seasons, yeah. Jeez. But
I know, and there's so many blocks in that game that I wish was in Minecraft. It's so gorgeous, and you just think, I want all of those things in actual Minecraft, like sand layers. Sand layers, Slack. Why can't we have sand layers?
Well, doesn't that technically go into like archaeology? Just saying.
Well, we'll get to that a little bit later on, but before we go into that, let's talk about this week, Slack. What have you been up to this week?
This week, as far as content goes, I've been still focused mainly on TB, focusing on Truly Bedrock, and I've started planning out my industrial area, aka the farms that are going to crash the server. I mean, just where I'm going to build all my farms.
Good luck with that.
Yep. Aside from that, I did another YouTube stream this week, and I tell you, Foxy, I am really loving the YouTube streams.
Yeah, go on.
It's more of a step back in time to, I know it sounds like a step back in time. I've only been, doing this for like 3 or 4 years now. But when I first started streaming on Twitch, I didn't have none of these add-ons. I didn't have none of these overlays, none of these extras, no sound alerts, no nothing like that. It was just me, the game, and the viewers. And with switching, or not say switching, but adding in YouTube streams, they don't have none of that. You don't have the add-ons. You don't have none of this extra stuff. You don't have all the bells and whistles. It's just you, Minecraft, and chat. That's it. And it feels so good back down to its core. It's just me, the game, and them. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving it. You still doing the YouTube stuff as well?
Yeah, every week I've been doing a YouTube stream, and I've got to admit I really enjoy it as well. And I just wanted to clarify what you were saying there to people that might not understand what you're talking about in terms of Twitch streams. Slack and I have both been streaming on Twitch for a while now. We both have things basically within our live streams that allow the audience to interact with us. You can either do it via paid donations, something like what's it called, sound alerts, where you can pay for bits to play a sound while we're playing a game. But more commonly, it's you can actually generate stream points by watching, which you can then spend on what are called redemptions, and then we can decide as streamers what we're going to allow people to redeem. Sometimes it's like, if you spend so many, you're going to get us to do something in the game, such as I think Slack builds custom trees for people, and I do things like putting on silly voices and having silly camera effects that turn me into a pickle and things like that. And they're great, and they're a really good way of interacting people. But having all of that gone and just having you playing the game and talking to people without any distractions or flashing lights or crazy things going on, it's so much easier to focus and so much easier to relax. So I completely get it. It is a really nice, easy, relaxing way to stream. And I really enjoy it. I am really enjoying the YouTube streams.
Oh, yeah. I'm absolutely loving them. But other than that, no, my week's been pretty normal. Just that, streaming, industrial area, and I've started collecting up mob heads.
Collecting mob heads? Well, go into detail, please.
Just I've randomly wandering trader. Oops, he met my sword. Now I've got that mob head. Raid parties, suddenly got those mob heads. Charged creeper, got that. I'm gonna make it a go to try to collect every mob head that we have on TB this season. I want to put up a display room for them and everything like that.
Oh, amazing. Oh, I look forward to seeing that then. I was just going to ask you then, are you going to like put them on show anywhere, or are they just going to be for sitting in your ender chest? But it's it's good that you're going to put them on display. I look forward to seeing that. That should add lots of nice lag to your area, Slack. Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. Well, see, I have this friend who keeps making all these add-ons, and they're amazing add-ons, and I can't help that. A side effect of them is they create massive amounts of entities. I mean, it's no different than, the people using glow ink signs and stuff like that everywhere.
Oh, it's not as bad as that. I've done tests. They're nowhere near as laggy as glow ink signs. Jeez, you need like 200 mob heads before they start actually slowing your game down. You only need about 6 glow ink signs before you start getting an FPS drop. So I would just advise using them away from your industrial area. That's all I'd say.
Yes, I had absolutely 100% planned on them being in an area that doesn't get loaded that often.
Yeah, well, we're going to go into that in a little bit later on, because I've been playing and found a few more bugs that have been very much irritating me. But before we get to that, we've got the news. But before we get to that, we've got what I've done this week, Slack.
What have you done this week, Foxy?
Well, aside from starting to landscape my base area in the Twitch live streams and doing a YouTube live stream, which I actually got in a little bit of trouble for in the comments for having a little bit too much attitude. I'll go into that briefly.
Wow.
I know. I got in trouble for being a little bit condescending, a little bit rude, and I have taken that on board. But I think this is a difference in culture, or just sort of a miscommunication or a misunderstanding of my humor, which is not necessarily good, because if people are misrepresenting my humor or misunderstanding my humor, then my humor is probably not, as open as I thought it was. But basically, we get a lot of younger people in the streams and a lot of people that have attitude with their questions, and I like to give them a little bit of attitude back. But it's normally in a very jokey and tongue-in-cheek way, with a lot of sarcasm thrown in there as well, which can come across as condescending and rude. Sometimes I do genuinely like to put people in their place. Like, there was one person that kept asking, how do I get Minecraft for free? And I wanted to make sure that, that's not okay. You can't just go around asking people to, for how to basically steal a game. And I explained why that's not okay, and that's a bad attitude to have. And I think it's important if we are, I hate the word, I absolutely hate it, but influencers, and we have people following us and people looking up to us for how to be. I think it's really important that we explain what we think is good and bad, and and allow people to go, okay, that's not okay what I'm doing here. I need to rethink about that. So I do look at it as a platform to try and teach those things as well. And maybe I have come across a little bit hard, but I don't think I was. Most people were laughing, and a lot of people said that they enjoyed it. So, we'll see what happens going forward. But anyway, I mean, oh, go on.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, cultural differences too. We got to consider that. Somebody may not have taken what you said the right way. Let's be real blunt here. Me and you have had our cultural differences before, with me being American and you being British. I'm just saying. No. You say something one way and I take it totally the opposite, and I say something one way and you take it totally opposite.
But that's normally in text rather than spoken. That's normally because we've both read the text differently, as opposed to, we don't normally find, we have sometimes, I guess, found that when we've been talking to each other, because I'll say things that you think are short and to the point, and you think that's me being off with you, and you'll do the same to me. But it just turns out that's, our way of speaking friendly to each other that we just misunderstand. But generally speaking, it's text that has that problem, right?
For the most part, but there are vocal ones as well. Like me and somebody else that I know that's British, that they'll do, yeah, okay. And that one just flies all over me, because I know at the same time, that's a way of just like blowing somebody off at the same time. So how do I know if that person's genuinely saying, yeah, okay, isn't okay, I understand that, I heard you, or yeah, okay, I don't care. It's like,
Yeah, okay. I understand that one. That comes down to you'd know if you were British, you'd know the difference because you've got a British person telling you. There's a very subtle, like, what's the word? Something in their voice. Basically, you can tell the difference when it's a yeah, okay, and they're not listening, and a yeah, okay, and they're taking it in. And normally, obviously, you've got their face when you're talking to people, and you can judge by that. But you can't do that on the internet if you just in voice with somebody. So that is a tricky one. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's just one example. There's many more out there. So cultural differences can be a thing. But moving on from that, people are gonna, you're never gonna please everybody. Never.
No. Speaking of not pleasing everybody, the next thing is from my week, but it's something that I wanted to bring up as a discussion topic, really, because it's something I've got mixed feelings on. I'm not sure how to take it. In one way, I think it's great, and in one way, I don't like it at all. And although I don't have a fully formed opinion on it, I want to get your perspective on it, and I also want to get the perspective of the people listening as well. So I better start from the beginning, really, hadn't I? Because I want to criminalize myself in this, if that's the route we're going down as well. Slack and I, was it the end of last season, we created an iron raid farm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while we were doing that, we had an idea. It was like, this is a really cool, nice, easy way to do an iron farm with lots of leaves and stuff like that. And we basically said at the end of that, because I'd sort of come up with the raid farm or throwing them together, and you'd come up with like a lot of the iron farm stuff.
Well, we've been working together.
It was a joint thing.
It was a joint thing, yes.
And I said, if you want to do a raid farm video, because I think you'd suggested that you wanted to do that. I said, do you mind if I do the iron farm side? Do you mind if I do the raid farm side? And we agreed that that's what we'd do. And then you did one. And then I'd had this idea that I wanted to start doing sort of more short, snappy, informative, but funny tutorials, and I wanted to do it as a series where you would finish one and it would lead straight into the next one, and then you'd finish that one, it would lead straight into the next one. So rather than wanting to start at the end, which was the raid iron farm or the iron raid farm, I wanted to go back to the beginning with the really simple iron farm and work the way through it. So simple iron farm, then the iron farm, emerald farm, and then the iron farm trading hall, and then the iron raid farm. And then I was going to go on from that to do an iron raid farm with the gold farm, and then run on from that to have a mob farm under there as well. I never got that far. I sort of stopped at the end of the trading hall one because season 4 came along, and it's taken all my time, and I'm really enjoying doing that. The fact is, I said to Slack one day, do you mind if I do another an iron farm video as well? And Slack, being a good friend of mine, said he didn't mind. And as much as I felt a little bit like I was probably stepping on Slack's toes, we've mentioned a lot of times before when we've done like collaboration videos, it doesn't really seem to affect us too much if we put out the same video but at different times, because different people are going to watch your videos. However, your iron farm then, as you've admitted to me, did suffer from views after I'd put out effectively the same one.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, mine literally died in the water. Yeah, it hasn't gotten like 200 views since yours dropped. Yeah,
yeah. And now you could look at that as my video came out and that stomped all over Slack's, which is not impossible, and there could be other factors to that as well. But that's entirely possible, and that's one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up before we get to the next part of the discussion, or the next part of this thing, which is then I got on a comment on that video, from somebody saying, I shared your video with people in the Discord with Avomance. He was super interested in your build. Hubby and I tried it and we got almost a whole box in like 8 to 9 hours. Thank you so much for this. Only addition I would suggest is how to move the villagers. We had a field day doing that, lol, which was a nice comment, but I thought it was a bit weird that they've like shipped it off to Avomance. I thought it was a bit strange. And then couple of days ago, Avomance actually put out the exact same tutorial, but my not Slack's, my details were in the description. And before he started building, about 2 or 3 minutes into the video, he did say, I got inspiration from FoxyNoTail, great Minecraft Bedrock YouTuber, which was nice. So there was credit there. So but I then feel happy about this and uneasy about this at the same time. I'm happy because Avomance obviously got a big audience, got a lot of viewers, and it's nice to have recognition out there. I also feel uneasy about it because I think if he'd used it in a survival world and gone, hey, I'm going to build FoxyNoTail's iron farm here because it's a great design, I think, hey, that's nice. That's a nice use of my thing. But what it feels like on one hand is he's gone, and we've both done it. I've done it to you. We've just admitted that I've done it to you, but it feels like now I'm on the other side of it. You can sort of get the feeling a bit more. He's gone, this guy's got a really nice iron farm here. I want the views for that instead, you know? So there's this sort of balance of, is it a good thing? Yeah, because I'm getting some more recognition out there from more people. That's more likely to, you know, I could end up with subscribers from that. I could end up with people coming over to me and going, hey, I didn't know you did technical stuff. This is great. It's not helping you at all. But then on the other hand, I know I'm going to get comments this season now that I've built that same iron farm in Truly Bedrock Season 4 going, hey, what, you know, you've not credited Avomance in your iron farm that you've built, you know? So
exactly. It's a very interesting one. It's a very interesting one. I'll go back and I'm not calling out names or anything like that, but it's a very touchy subject. It's like, you know, that I came up with a mob despawning system very early on for Bedrock Edition via command blocks.
Yep.
One time while I was streaming, I literally had somebody come in and, you know, Silent, he plays on the same server as us.
Yeah.
Silent put out a video on that. He changed it up a little bit and he put out a video on that. He did mention me in it and everything. The kick is though, I was streaming and I was on one of my servers and somebody came in and they're like, why don't you go ahead and put Silent's mob despawning system on your world? And I'm just like, I built the system. I don't need it over here. And literally now it's in reverse, you know, it's in reverse, you know, it makes it, the thing, and I'm trying to be open-minded here and everything like that. The biggest problem that I see with that is that Avomancer's not a Bedrock content creator.
No, he's not.
He just made a Bedrock farm. That's my quorum with it.
That takes me on to another part of something that I noticed from this. And I looked at Avomance's channel and I looked at Avomance's videos. And if you just go on his videos page, you can see it's all public information. He's got the number of views he gets on his videos. Now, he's got a lot of subscribers, in the hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But most of his videos only get sort of, you know, 5,500, 10,000, 15,000 views, which is not like, I'm not saying anything bad about that, but that's the majority of his videos. There were 3 videos that I noticed on his homepage videos that started with easy in the title. And one of them, the latest one, was the iron farm that I me and you created, the one I did the tutorial on.
Right.
The first 2 one was Easy Iron Farm, and I assume that was for Java Edition. I didn't notice. I didn't look. And the other one was 4 Easy Farms for 1.18. Both of those, the first one, the Iron Farm one, had got 300,000 views, and the one for 1.18 farms has 185,000 views. So Avomance is clearly thinking, I should be making more easy farm tutorials because there's views to be made there. So perhaps when he's, you know, had this passed to him from the people that were in my comments saying we passed it on to Avomance, he's thought, oh, well, this is a great one for my channel because people like easy tutorials. So, you know, I'm going to do the right thing, credit the guy that made it, but I'm going to help my channel by putting out an easy tutorial. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. This is the discussion we're having. Is this good? Is it bad? I don't know. I've got good feelings and bad feelings about it.
I have good and bad too. One of the things that I've always said in this type of exact subject matter here with me putting out the Iron Farm video, okay? I put out the Iron Farm video. You've got an Iron Farm video. I guarantee you Silent's got an Iron Farm video. Most people in TB probably have an Iron Farm video. Yeah. I imagine DB does. I imagine Rogue does.
I think Groover was quite famous for them at one point as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. Everybody, how do I go into this without... There's going to be people who will watch me that will never watch you.
Yeah, agreed.
There's going to be people who will watch Silent that'll never watch me.
Yep.
We can share the same community, but there will never be full agreement on everybody on everything, though. I don't think it's a bad thing that if you put out a video, I put out a video on the same subject matter. Sometimes it feels iffy, and sometimes we get our feelings hurt over it. We do. We do. Like I just spent all that time making that video. Like literally at one point, I recorded a tutorial I recorded a tutorial. I made a witch farm tutorial. And I'm just telling you on a personal level here. Well, I'm telling a lot of people now. I recorded a witch farm tutorial because I already had one in the past that was very successful on my channel. They changed some stuff with the spawn radius and stuff. I recorded a witch farm video. I had it up on my YouTube. I had it ready to go. I was getting ready to drop it, and Groover dropped one. I literally then deleted the one off my channel before I ever published it.
Yeah. I've been there. I've had videos almost ready. In fact, the Iron Raid farm, I've recorded all of the clips for. I've done all the build for. I haven't edited it, which was massive job on those ones because of the way I was doing it. If you've watched those videos, even though they're quite short, it was a big edit job because there was all sorts of crazy stuff going on. And then, well, Silent put out one that was easy Iron Raid farm. Someone else put out one that was an Iron Raid farm. Someone else put out one. I just thought, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered.
Because then we go into that stigma of you stole so-and-so's, you stole so-and-so's.
Well, it's not even that. You just think, well, they're already there. It just feels like I'm stealing at this point, you know? So
I think that's something we as individuals have to work past as content creators too. There's people who literally make their channels 100% on stealing other people's content and don't know nothing about the game. Nothing. Absolutely nothing about the game. They record a tutorial, and if you were to catch them playing in survival the next day, they couldn't explain to you how it worked.
Yeah. I've been there. I've seen that.
I've seen it too. So I don't hate's a very rude word and a very mean word. And I don't hate people that do that. Sometimes it feels iffy. Sometimes it makes you go, really? Really? I mean, but at the same time, not everybody's going to watch everybody. I don't know where to go with that.
Yeah, I know. It's a really tricky one. There's a lot of different ways you could approach this because you could say, well, if you were the really good person, not only would you credit that person, but you'd also, like I did to you, go to you first and say, do you mind if I do this? Now, I did that, but without crediting you because we kind of done it together in the first place anyway. But I should and probably could quite easily have said, hey, Slack did this as well, right? Go and check out his video. But I didn't because I wanted to keep that video as short, snappy, and to the point as possible, and I'm a bad friend. Avamance didn't come to me first. He just did it, but he credited me. And other people would just do the exact same video. Some people would even re-upload a video and put their own thumbnail on it and claim it as theirs, right? So there's different levels of what's acceptable. I think a lot of people would go, hey, well, so-and-so did it, so I can do that. But I think there should be probably a bar set for what's good, you know? And I think that most people, because the cultural differences, worldwide differences, age differences, the whole lot, you got to be you, do you, what's comfortable for you, what's the best way to approach it for you. But certainly doing from this now, even though I'm happy about it on one hand, and I'm a little bit annoyed about it on another hand, it's made me go, right, okay, in future, if I'm doing a farm that me and you have worked on or me and someone else has worked on, I'm going to approach that differently when it comes to making a video and make sure that I go, hey, Slack and I did this together. So this is not just mine. This is not FoxyNoTail's easiest iron farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This is my video of it, but Slack and I did this together and I've got his permission to do it, you know? I want to make sure I'm not the bad guy.
Yeah, the thing at the end of the day is being comfortable with what you do. It's like you have a video on your channel of how to find chunk borders. I have a video on my channel. I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable that you have one and I have one. We both have different spinny furnaces.
Yeah.
It's never bothered me one bit. We've even joked about it inside of our videos.
I made mine first, just saying.
But mine's faster, just saying. It's as a person, if you've done something that you feel is, I guess the word grimy, wrong, cheaty. So this end subject here with him literally taking a copy of yours, putting it out, even though he did give you credit, he doesn't play Bedrock. It kind of feels iffy, but not everybody is going to watch everybody. And let's go into this. We literally had a TB meeting the other day and we were talking about, what was it? Gateway content and everything else. I've had people come to me and be like, hey, do you know how to do this? And I'll be like, no, go check Foxy out. He's got a video on that. Who's Foxy?
Yeah, same. I've pointed a lot of people to you for various things over the years.
Who's Foxy? Who's Silent? Point them to other people. So literally somebody could watch Avo's video and Foxy, a Bedrock content creator, gave me the idea for this farm. Well, suddenly they look at Foxy and suddenly they find TB.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly. So anyway, I'd be really interested to see what you guys think about this. If you've got any opinion on this, if you think it's good or bad, then please do let us know, either through the feedback system on the email, which is the Minecraft Update Pod. Is it pod or podcast? I can't remember now, Slack. Jeez.
Pod.
The Minecraft Update Pod at gmail.com or in mine or Slack's Discord. Please do let us know what you think. There's one more thing. I know we've already been going like 40 odd minutes. One more thing I want to talk about from this week before we get to the news, and that is Slack. And I know you already know this, but I am a complete and utter moron. Okay?
Okay. I'm not going to argue. I mean, pray tell, Foxy, what's going on?
Have you got all of the achievements on Bedrock Edition, or are you not bothered? Have you looked at them?
I haven't done achievement hunting for a while.
Okay, good. In that case, you might be as stupid as I am, but I doubt it very much. So one of the achievements in Minecraft 1.17, I hadn't got it yet, I went to get it this week, was called Whatever Floats Your Goat. And it says, get in a boat and float with a goat. What do you think you have to do to get that achievement?
I would think you would put the goat in the boat and then you would get in it with it.
What, anywhere? On land? On a mountain? Where would you be?
I would think in the water.
Yeah. And the picture clearly shows on the advancements page that you're in the water.
Okay.
What I thought, for some bizarre reason, not just one day, not just for half an hour or an hour, but over through a full live stream, through a full recording session on a video, for several days before that and in between, I thought you had to fly with the boat in the goat. So I thought for some reason you had to get in a boat, drive it off the side of a cliff, and float in the air. Why? I killed two. I spent honestly hours looking for goats and killed two of them by falling off cliffs in boats with them before it dawned on me I needed to float in the water, which is what you do with a boat.
I got nothing for you here in that situation. I got nothing for you on that one. All right. Did you finally get the achievement?
Yes, I did. I did finally get the achievement, thankfully. But yeah, it was, man, when I realized how much of a moron I'd be. Why? Why would you float in the air with it? It doesn't make any sense. You're in a boat. There we go. That's my brain for you. So,
I mean, could you imagine if you had to get in the boat with the goat and get hit by a shulker bullet? Then that'd be
fun though.
Can we make a minigame out of that?
Maybe. Right. Anyway, that's enough of talking nonsense about my week. Let's move on to the news. And would you like to start? Or would you like me to start?
You can go ahead and start here.
Okay, so into the Twitterverse we go. We have KingBDogz saying there is no Java Snapshots with frogs, unknown when these will start coming out. Basically, because we've now got frogs in the Bedrock Edition betas, people are asking when they're going to be in the Java Edition snapshots. But obviously that's not going to happen until official Java Edition snapshots start coming out for 1.19. Bedrock Edition is cheating its way into 1.19 by adding experimental 1.19 features into the beta version of Minecraft. So it's I don't know, it's a bit of a weird way that they're doing it. It doesn't feel ever so sort of cohesive over the versions, but at least we're getting a look at frogs.
More entities. More entities. More entities.
They're interesting though. Have you played with them at all? Have you been in the beta?
No, I haven't even touched the beta. No, not at all.
No. I downloaded it today, but I've not gone into it yet. I meant to do that, but I've been tied up with other things. One of the things I'm most interested in finding out about these frogs is apparently, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, possibly, if I've written it in the news, they have a new animation system for the Warden and the frogs. And that's basically they're using keyframe animation, which is it's more like, I guess, probably like cartoon animation or 3D animation in films, things like that, where you're physically saying, hey, do go from this position to this position, then this position, rather than current Minecraft animations, which are just looping animations where you're saying, do this over this period of time and then loop it, you know?
Yeah.
So moving on from that, KingBDogz, I think we've got it listed in the news somewhere, but I'll mention it now. Then said, do you think, just completely theoretically, now that we've got this keyframe animation system, we should go back to all of the other mobs and the player and make them more smoother and more realistic. And he was arguing that it was quite a long thread. I don't think we should do this for the players because that feels really un-Minecrafty and it wouldn't, have that classic feel to it. But like things like cows that are a little bit jerky probably would benefit from it. And it was just asking people what they thought, I guess. What do you think?
I think at this point in time, if there's people who don't like it, can't they like make behavior packs for the old stuff? I mean, people still rock the old netherrack texture pack, that old white noise red just disaster of a pack. And why not? The game's ever evolving. Why not go back and revisit and change these up? And if certain people don't like it, have a behavior pack or something that can emulate the old way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I'd be up for it. I don't mind changes and things like that. That's something that I think brings the game forward. And we often have like texture updates or this, that, or the other update or sound update. Sounds in the game get updated over time and it just adds another layer of immersion to it. So yeah, if they want to give everything a little bit smoother animations and make the animations look a little bit better, then absolutely. I mean, they're not talking about like bending knees and elbows or anything like that. That would still be the solid blocks that they are. They just move a little bit more, well, with a bit more of an interesting, smoother animation, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it and see where it goes. But also, include the option, make it, I'm going to struggle to say this word. This word I always struggle with. Toggleable?
Toggleable. Yeah. You said that, okay?
Yeah. Just give us an option where we can say yes or no.
Yeah. Options for these sorts of things would be great. Although if they're going to have options for that, then I think there's a lot of other options they could add. And at some point, we'll just end up with a huge screen of just tick boxes that don't make any sense. So, but yeah, it's something like that where you've certainly in the short term, you've got a toggleable thing and you say, hey, we're transitioning to this. What do you think? And then you've got an opportunity for at least maybe 6 months to a year to turn it off and on. And then depending on, they could look at that and go, how many people do what with, which should we stick with? I think that might be a good idea.
Oh yeah, like a YouTube beta studio. Hey, we told you for 2 years this is coming. It's here. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So next news one, Mr. Lizard, is from Matt Gartzk. What did they say on Twitter?
Well, they said it's that time of year. It's holiday time. It's time for them to take a vacation.
Yeah, it's not really much news, this one, to be honest with you. I think everybody knows it by now, and if you don't know it, you probably could expect it. But Minecraft team have gone on holiday. They've taken their vacation, and they won't be back until January because they are human beings that do a job, and they're not, just 24 hours a day technical support people that just sit there in that studio day in, day out working on Minecraft. So, yeah, not really news, but I thought it was worth chucking in.
They have real lives?
Yeah, I know. It's bizarre. You wouldn't have thought it, would it?
I got a question. Do you have one?
No. I just 24/7. I'm here waiting for people to ask me how to do things that they could quite easily Google on Discord or in YouTube comments or in live streams. 24/7. That's what I do. Don't sleep ever.
So why are you making that sheep farm again? Because I need leather.
Because I need leather. That's a little bit of an in-joke Slack and I shared earlier, where we've been noticing some rather strange questions coming through while we're live streaming, but they entertain us, so we like it. Yeah. Anyway, right, moving on from that one, which wasn't really news, I guess. What I really am interested in is more stuff from KingBDogz Slack. All about the Warden, and I'm genuinely quite excited about this. I don't know why I am. I'm really into the Warden now. Are you?
I've seen a few of the animations, and I'm just curious of how it's going to work. Is it going to be like a boss throughout the world? I need more details. I don't think so. I think people are. This is why I wanted to put this in and bring it up, because it's not really that much news, to be honest with you, but. There has been a few posts by KingBDogz and other people working on the Warden like Marcio, who have put out tweets with videos showing not only the Warden emerging from the ground, so when he comes out of the ground to chase the player, but also now burying back into the ground as well. And some people are getting really excited about the idea that the Warden's going to dig, it's going to go underground, it's going to be like a mole that chases you around, and it's not. It's none of that. It's quite obviously just going to, when it can't sense the player, it's just going to go away again. And it's just going to despawn, right?
That's just its
Oh, yeah.
despawn animation.
Yeah, that's just an animation to say, "Hey, I'm despawning while you're within range to see me despawn."
Yeah, exactly. But I still like it. I think it's great. I would quite like it if it maybe smashed a couple of blocks on its way down, but then we'd have the whole sort of argument about mob griefing again. But I mean, creepers blow up big holes. Why can't the Warden smash a couple of blocks on its way through?
Well, I mean, you're talking about too. This kind of goes back to the whole you're talking about revisiting old animations again.
Yeah.
What if like a skeleton like crumbled into a pile of bones as it despawned?
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great.
Or a zombie, like fell down and dissolved into the dirt.
Yeah, or just when you kill them, instead of them just flashing red and falling over to the side, if they did that, if the skeletons crumpled or the zombies, did something else, that I'd like all of that sort of stuff. That would be more immersion. Obviously, we don't want loads of gore in Minecraft because it is for people that are 10-year-olds and older. It doesn't have to have blood and guts and things like that, but it can be more interesting when it comes to things. But
yeah, it'd be interesting.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with those, but I just like to see how excited people get and all of the crazy ideas they come up with. Now, I might be totally wrong. I've got no idea. I've got no influence or insight into this, but to me, it just makes sense that if it's one of those things that you have to activate it by making too much noise, then if you're quiet and it can't find you, it goes away again. Just makes sense.
Well, now this is me just spitting rumor here. Didn't somebody, I could have swore I read something about the goat horn was going to be tied to something to do with the Warden.
No, that was, I've mentioned that a few times. That's just speculation again, that we were wondering what the goat horn was going to be useful for. On Bedrock Edition, we could kind of blow it to make the raid horn sound, but it was speculated that because it makes a loud noise and the Warden is obviously a noise and vibration triggered, that maybe the goat horn made a loud enough noise to scare off the Warden and make it sort of retract a little bit, almost like, the little blue mushrooms do to, is it hoglins or piglins?
Yes. Yeah, to the hoglins.
So I still think that would be a great idea and a great implementation for the goat horn. But again, that's something else we're going to be bringing up very soon, is this mysterious goat horn. Where is it gone, Slack?
You tell me and we'll both know.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So from Wardens emerging and digging back down again, we have we've already covered it pretty much, said that the first beta with the frogs has been released. So we've talked about their animations. We know that there's not really much else to go on with that, is there? No,
not at all. I seen somebody on Twitter the other day put a video up. I can't remember who it was now, but they showed they had tadpoles in the water and then they dumped in oxalatos and it killed the tadpoles and they were like, "You monsters."
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah. Axolotls being obviously vicious to anything in the water now. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I know they're baby frogs, but I mean, why would you've got the frogs aren't going to naturally be down in the caves where the axolotls are, so it's not going to happen naturally. You'd have to put that axolotl there for it to upset the frogs. So, I don't know. I don't think that's a problem for me.
You would say naturally. So you're assuming that the frogs would be a surface spawn and that the axolotls would be a cave spawn. Yeah. But you could literally get an instance where a village spawned halfway in the water and you get frogs on the surface and axolotls in the cave underneath the boardwalks or whatever, and they'd literally be killing the frogs.
But axolotls, aren't they Y value restricted as well now to only be under Y level 0?
I don't know if that's
I'm gonna have
new.
to check that now.
Yeah, I haven't heard nothing about that one.
Let you waffle on for a minute, Slack, while I just check that out.
But what waffle?
Talk more about the interest in frogs and their animations and the fact that they like slimes. They like eating baby slimes. And you remember that one where it worked as intended and the frog was spinning around like a lunatic?
Why? What mob did they copy that would cause that? I don't figure that one out, because this is not me being rude to the creators, but they're like, okay, so we're going to add something new in. Let's just start with a base point of grabbing this and copying it over, and then we'll change it up to suit our needs. What mob attacks slimes like that?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Why does it do it? Why? What does it serve? Does it actually do damage to them? Is it going to be a way to farm? I don't know. It's such a weird one. First, they need to fix spawning of slimes, though, because that's still pretty broken.
Yeah, absolutely. That is very broken. Right, I have the info Slack. Okay, so it's not a Y value restriction, but I was kind of right. The axolotls will only spawn within lush caves, so they won't spawn anywhere else. So they do need to be underground. They need to be underwater. They won't. There's even a tag for it now in the spawn rules to say disallow spawns in bubbles, so they won't spawn in bubble columns. There is a density limit of 5. It has to be on clay. There is a block filter now, so they'll only spawn above clay. They will spawn in a minimum size of 4 or herd size of 4 and a maximum size of 6. And it will only be in lush caves. So there you go. You know all about spawn conditions of the axolotl now. I don't think frogs will spawn in lush caves.
No, that would be the simplest way to avoid that, is have them not spawn in lush caves. So,
yeah,
interesting. But then again, right now we got tropical fish spawning in lush caves too. Just saying.
Well, let me check the spawn rules for the tropical fish. Jeez. Okay. Tropical fish spawn rules. Spawn on surface, spawn underwater. So they shouldn't, because there's no cave thing there. Density limit 20, height filter 50 to 64, so they won't spawn below Y50. Oh, did you know this about fish? I noticed this as well when I made my squid farm, is that fish will no longer spawn above Y64 or below Y50, which means I don't get any fish in my squid farm anymore, which is very annoying. And that's kind of it. Oh, there is another variation that will spawn underground, underwater. And there doesn't appear to be a height. Oh, yeah, a lush caves one. There's a lush caves variant of tropical fish now, so that's intentional. There you go.
And with, what was that density of 20?
Yeah, density of 20.
That's insane.
Yeah, all fish have got a density of 20, cod as well.
So in the lush caves, if somebody's loading a lush cave, they can get 20 tropical fish and axolotls loaded in the area. That's not even counting the hostile mobs.
Yes, they can. Laggy lush caves. Lag caves. That's what they should be called.
Yeah, that's literally. Go. Yes.
I was going to say, last thing I want to talk about the frogs is that it's just a personal gripe. Maybe it's different in the US. Maybe it's different in the rest of the world. But frog eggs don't exist. It's called frog spawn. Okay. Have you ever seen frog spawn or been around frog spawn?
Caviar. I mean,
no, that's fish. That's fish eggs.
they're like just
jelly with black dots in the middle.
Yeah.
It's called frog spawn. Yeah.
Just frog eggs. Yeah.
Okay, is that what you'd call them? Is it frog eggs?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, technically they are eggs, but they've always been called frog spawn. So to be in the game as a frog egg is just really weird to me. I don't like it. It freaks me out. I don't want it to be a frog egg. I want it to be frog spawn. So,
I mean, it's not chicken spawn. It's chicken egg.
Well, yeah. And obviously there's spawn used in the game for a whole lot of other things. And we got spawn eggs. So it would kind of be a bit sort of confusing if they called it frog spawn. But I just...
Spawn eggs.
It's always been frog spawn for since I was little. So yeah, it's just weird to know it as frog's eggs. Reminds me of frog's legs, culture. Which is yeah, exactly, culture. Right, that's enough of the Twitterverse then.
Want a biscuit? Oh yeah, I want a biscuit. No, we're talking about totally different things. Just saying.
Your cookie Slack and get it right. Jeez.
It's not a cookie.
Do you want to move on to the next one, or do you want me to carry on, or
where were we? Next one, Nvidia constructs a virtual winter wonderland for charity in Minecraft.
Yeah, it's an article I found earlier that basically the Nvidia have done another RTX showcase where they've basically got one person called Ushio Takura, aka Dr. Bond on Twitter, to spend 300 hours and 30 million individual blocks, apparently spanning a virtual space of 38 acres, which is 4 times the size of the biggest real-world Christmas market in Austria, to create a Wonderland experience for them for the UK charity Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children, which is nice. It's lovely for the charity, but how is it a charitable thing? Because it's not. Are they charging people to go around it? There's no info? Well, I didn't see any information on how they actually how they're making money from this thing.
What, were they going to put it on the marketplace and all proceeds for purchase go to charity?
Possibly. I've not seen anything like that. And normally when, RTX stuff from Nvidia goes on the marketplace, it's generally free. So, that doesn't make much sense either.
No, I have no clue. More details is needed on that kind of situation.
Yeah. But interesting, though, that they've got one poor person to create an entire...
Nvidia's Winter Wonderland is available to explore now and can be downloaded from the Planet Minecraft website.
Okay.
If I click that...
So are they getting ad money?
I'm not sure how they're getting any revenue.
If it's through Planet Minecraft, it's not monetized, which means the only way they're monetizing it is through ads. But it'll be Planet Minecraft getting the ads. I'm just going, and it's downloadable from the Google Drive. So they're saying this for a charity. How is it charitable? It just feels like a marketing thing to me. I've got to say, it's really weird.
It's like Minecraft and Nvidia gearing up for RTX. What was the point? I don't get it yet. I don't understand.
Well, I understand showcasing stuff, but why say it's for charity if there's no way of...
Wait. The world also features a full recreation of the great Gosh building, and visitors will be able to donate via an in-game QR code to contribute to the charity's Home for Christmas fundraiser campaign.
Okay, so they've created the actual hospital in the game. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, from the way I understand it, right here.
And they've basically put a sign in there saying, "Can you give money to Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital?" Which is nice, but that's not really the project. Isn't I don't know. It feels a bit weird to me. I like that. I like it, but that it's charitable. But it feels that's not the best way they could have gone around raising money for that charity. Do you know?
Yeah, it's very discreet. It's very discreet. And then at the very bottom, it's like, you can also donate directly via this link.
That's so weird. That's like, it's not stand out enough, is it? If you do something for charity, that should be the forefront and the focus of what you're doing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Not just be a building in a giant world that has a link to a QR code that you can then go on and then pay. You're paying. They're not paying. It's not good that Nvidia aren't giving any money to charity.
No, and that's not how it looks. No, it's for people who actually go explore the world for one, get to the hospital, find the QR code in the hospital, and then use it.
And then pay out of their own pocket to donate. So Nvidia aren't giving this charity any money at all, by the looks of things. Not that it doesn't say in any of the article that I've read doesn't say that they are.
No, that makes no sense. And I'm going to send you another little screenshot here. So as I was going through the pictures, that's literally the caption of it right there. Visit the street hospital, really? Step inside. Yeah, so if you wanted to do this, the steps you have to go through to even get to that point is pretty insane. Yeah. At that point, you'd be better off just going to the link that they directly provided.
I will drop as I do with every podcast, I will put the notes or the link to this article that we're reading from in the show notes. Go to that, make your own mind up. If we're wrong, please let me know, because I don't like calling people out for doing, dodgy stuff. If I'm wrong, obviously, but this just felt to me, the reason I added this in today's podcast, it just felt really weird that they'd done all of this big showcase thing, but it didn't appear that any money was actually going to charity. And it still feels like that. They basically just, put a small sign somewhere saying, hey, if you wanted to donate to a charity, donate to this one. It's just bizarre. Really, really bizarre.
Yeah, it seems like they had the best of intentions, but the execution feels on a level just between us talking, it feels poor at this moment.
Yeah. I mean, why couldn't they just say, hey, we're going to host this for download. It's $1 to download it and just give all that money to charity.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have made more sense.
Anyway, moving on from that, the next one is that there is a player, a crazy person called Mythical. Mythical? I don't know. He's a YouTuber and streamer that has been mining out an entire world for 4 years, and they're nearly finished, and they're doing it all in survival mode. They have they've generated, just by mining their world, over 12,000 diamonds. They've gone through around about 5,250 pickaxes, And they last made an update about it on YouTube in November, saying that the world, over 38 million blocks have been mined, and they estimate that they'll be finished around about February 2022. And the reason for this, if you're thinking they're absolutely nuts, why the monkeys would you do this, is they just said, I want to be able to just build my legacy, but help others build their own legacy that will be seen for years to come. Many people think doing these big projects will be a waste of time, but they don't understand that once they finish, they will be remembered by others through the accomplishments. What do you think?
I think they came to dig.
I think they're like digging, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I'm just loading this up and just looking at this. How big of an area? My brain needs to.
Well, I'm assuming it's one of the old like console worlds that were limited to however many chunks, because they've said it's nearly the entire world has been mined out. Well, you can't mine out an entire world these days because the worlds are generally infinite. It is classic world from a PS4, 862 blocks by 862 blocks inside. So it's roughly 47 million blocks in total. You can see from the screenshots, they've got a beacon. They have gone all the way down from the surface to bedrock. Obviously, this is pre-caves and cliffs, so they haven't got all of the extra world below zero to go through or mountains to go through. So I think at this point, if I was them, I would be now feeling a bit gutted that people would probably be saying, well, you've only done half a job because, you know, bedrock goes all the way down to minus 64 now.
Well, that's also hoping that version of the game, which is a classic world, a legacy world on an old version of the PlayStation, it probably doesn't even get this update, to be fair.
No, absolutely. So I think it's really impressive. I'm not 100% convinced that they'll be remembered for years to come. I think the fact that there are news articles out there about them is positive, because this could so easily have just gone through, gone out. No one would have noticed it, and they've just spent 4.5, 5 years doing it for no reason. But, if they really enjoy digging in Minecraft, then great. Hats off to them. There's a million ways to play the game, as we discovered last time. This is just one of them.
Yep, this is just one of them. And that's no different than, I want to share a little inside secret with you, Foxy, okay?
But you've not been digging out a world for 4 years, have you, Slack?
No. I hadn't heard of PewDiePie until like 3 years ago.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
I find that quite impressive.
One of the biggest YouTube content creators out there, and I had never heard of them until...
He was the biggest until like very recently, for the whole time that YouTube existed, pretty much. He's
and
been
never
the
heard
YouTuber.
Of him.
Wow. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So not everybody knows everything about everybody. That's just a case in point there.
Absolutely.
You're like, this guy's probably... I didn't even know about one of the biggest YouTubers out there that still to this day until just a few years ago.
It's interesting that you bring that up, Slack, a completely off topic, but that conversation has come up for me a lot recently as well, particularly in live streams where somebody... In fact, the most recent one was not about a person, but it's kind of the same. It was about time zones. I didn't know that there are countries in this world that not only have a half-hour time zone difference, but some have a 15-minute time zone difference. I thought everything was split by the hour, and that's my lack of education, I guess. And I got called out for that in the comments again from a thing saying, get educated. How I can't believe you didn't know that. And I just think, I didn't respond to that one, but I just think, well, not everybody does know everything. Unless you don't know what you don't know. You can't educate things against things you don't know about, So you are experiencing life all the time. If you haven't been around something, or if those things don't happen to pop up on your radar, you're going to miss them. You're going to go around them like icebergs. So calling someone out for not knowing something or understanding something is not just because you do. Doesn't mean that, they're thick or they're stupid or they're a moron, as I like to call myself. It just means that they haven't learned that yet. So, and with people particularly, I've mentioned this a few times, the internet's really good at generating bubbles of people and things around you. Like your YouTube homepage will probably be full of people that are different to mine, but there'll be a couple of people that overlap in there that we'll be aware of. And the people that we play Minecraft with, the Bedrock Edition players that we're aware of, and the people that are on Truly Bedrock and the people that we interact with on Discord, there'll be an entire other massive groups of Bedrock Edition players that probably have Bedrock Edition SMPs we're not even aware of because their circles don't overlap with ours. So The bigger our communities get, it's a little bit like those games, you know, what they call like Agar.io and stuff, where you start off as a little blob and you eat the other blobs and your thing gets bigger. The bigger your circles get, the more circles they spread into and the more information you're gathering and you're becoming aware of. But while your circle's relatively small, unless another circle grows into yours, you're not going to bump into these things or understand these things. PewDiePie is not going to get recommended to you if you've never watched his videos and you don't watch that sort of content. So it's completely understandable that you would have never heard of him.
And I was never recommended one. The only reason that I ever found it was hanging out in the Discord one day, somebody playing one of the, I wouldn't say inappropriate, but one of the songs that he did. Yeah. That was my first exposure to him.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so yeah, completely off topic. And do you know what, Slack? We've been going for well over an hour now, and we have been rambling a lot. But this next one is completely nothing to do with Minecraft, but something very close to both of us. And I'm really looking forward to discussing this. Do you want to tell us what it's about?
Well, it's about a new feature that's coming to Discord. Now, if you don't know what Discord is more or less how do I explain this to people?
It's a chat room. It's a chat room system that's not really pervy and for, like, you know, people that are looking to date each other. It's a community-based chat room where you as a person of interest or it doesn't even have to be about people. It could be, you can be a company. You can create a server on there that people can join, and then you can chat. You can have various channels in there. You can talk about different things. You can basically have it whatever you want. You can organize live streams in there. You can run live streams in there. You can talk in voice. You can talk in chat. There's so many things you can do with it, but it's a really nice and very slick system that works really, really well. And it's really easy to run from our perspective, and it's really easy to integrate with from a viewer's perspective, right?
Right. And it's also a place where for us as content creators, it works really good because almost all of us have support-based servers, people that help support the channels and or streams or whatever. We have a place where they can come and play Minecraft usually. Yeah. And a lot of us use Discord to do that. Well, Discord is now testing a paywall, more or less, that's called premium memberships, which, well, it feels like it's just literally Patreon for Discord. What do you think?
I think there's a couple of, I've got a lot to say about this, Slack, but we'll try and take it in stages. The first thing I take issue with is that the article we're reading from PCMag.com says Discord is testing a paywall called Premium. I don't think this is a paywall at all. There's no wall there. It's not stopping you from doing anything. So to me, it's just another option for creators like Discord server owners like ourselves to monetize our systems if we wanted to. And for me, I really like this idea because basically I've got Patreon, and I've got a lot of Patreon members, and I'm really proud of that. And a lot of people come through my Patreon to support me, and they get access to my Discord, they get access to roles in my Discord, they get access to my servers, they can play in my world. Having all that in one place so I don't have to go log into Patreon, find out who they are, what's their Discord name, what's their email address if they haven't put the Discord name in, and then find them in Patreon and then trying to whitelist them and enroll them and everything like that. Having it all in one system, ideally assuming it works well together, that would cut out a lot of problems for me.
Yeah, I just linked you another article real quick, and I'm going to put it in our meeting notes as well. That's actually from Discord themselves.
Okay.
That's literally their information on the new features that they're literally putting in with the premium memberships.
And just explain to me, if you've read through this already, how it works.
I haven't read through it all here real quick. Shall we take just a moment to glance at it real quick?
Yeah, let's take a quick pause then, and we'll have a look through that, because I'd be interested to see how much there is in terms of like how much it's going to cost and how much they're going to take.
Well, after glancing at that, Foxy, it literally just feels like their version of Patreon, just trying to cut Patreon out of the ordeal.
Yeah, so just to go over what it is briefly in a bit more detail now that we know a bit more about it, it is a closed experiment they're doing at the moment with some Patreon servers. And it is exactly like Patreon from what I can see, or like YouTube channel memberships. You, as the server owner, can create different tiers, you can set different prices, and you can give different perks back based on what the people have subscribed at. And then Discord will take a monthly subscription from that person and give it to that server. Now, it doesn't mention anywhere in the documentation how much of a cut Discord take, which would be my first question from somebody running a server. But it does allow you as the user to have more than one membership to obviously different servers. So I think from a user's point of view, it's probably going to be even easier than Patreon to be able to actually manage who you're subscribed to, who you are having a membership with, which servers you are. So I actually really like this as a route forward with Discord, particularly because Discord have always struggled with monetization. They've got a massive system now. They've got loads. They must be running millions of servers in the background to handle all of the video calls that they do, like we're doing now, like they do with the audio calls. And it's used for huge events now as well. It's so popular all over the world. You started off as a gaming thing, and now it's just used for absolutely everything. And the only way they've monetized it is with this thing called Nitro that I hate. And what Nitro is it's like a way to boost your server, and you're basically asking, you've either got to shell out an absolute fortune yourself or ask your server members to boost your server by paying a monthly amount in order to unlock what are basically completely pointless unlocks, like more emoji slots or stickers, or, a vanity URL for your server. There's nothing, you don't get anything from it, which I'm glad they haven't put a massive paywall in the way and saying, well, you can't have video calls unless you pay for this. Then that's great. But you need 14 boosts to unlock everything. And each boost costs, I think it's $40 a year, near enough. So that's a lot of money just to unlock one server to get these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that number used to be a lot higher. It used to be, I think when it was first implemented, like 50.
That's $560 a year.
Mm-hmm.
$560 a year, which is obviously like $46 a month to have your Discord unlocked to that level. I really hope that if this patron thing works, if there's premium servers for Discord actually works, they'll get rid of Nitro, or at least bring that down a little bit.
I think they'd bring it down. I don't think it's one of those things that's ever going to go, because Nitro now has perks where you can type longer messages and stuff like that. So I don't think they'll be getting rid of
4,000 word messages. 4,000 character messages. Yeah, it's gone from 2,000, which was already way too long to read, to 4,000. It's a pointless thing. You don't need it. Just write 2 messages. Don't need to pay for that.
Yeah, well, somebody will. Somebody will always think that it's a good idea that they can pay for it, that they don't need it. So,
yeah.
As far as this goes, I think it could be good. Right now, it doesn't really interest me. Granted, it's not on my servers, so I can't really say much more than that. It doesn't interest me because I just literally set on my Patreon tiers up with the merch option.
Okay. Oh, so you just put a lot of time and effort into sorting out your Patreon, basically.
Yeah. So as of right now, this shows no interest to me. But I will say, on a personal note, that I've noticed before, we have the Patreon bot that manages the roles of the Patreons. And one of the quickest ways somebody knows that their Patreon was declined is if they suddenly lose access to channels that they had before.
Right. Oh, I don't do that in mine, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, so like if somebody's membership just it didn't auto renew or something like that. Well, if somebody new joins the Discord and they link their Patreon, it automatically gives them the row and puts them in the right channels. Oh,
on yours, yes.
Yeah, on mine. Yeah, not everybody does the same thing.
Yeah.
So like if their Patreon got declined for some reason, it would revoke their access to the channels too. I imagine that's exactly what this is going to do too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would imagine, I'm hoping there's an option in there, because I don't do that on mine. I like to give the people the roles myself, and I'm very kind, I think, with when they leave for whatever reason. If they've been declined, I like to look at it as, you've supported me for X amount of time. You've been a great person in my community. You can keep your roles. I'm not charging. I'm not going to carry on charging you. If you can't afford to support me anymore, if you just don't want to, or for whatever reason, I'm not going to take your roles away from you because you have bothered to do that in the first place. And I think my tiers are set high enough that I just 1 or 2 months worth of pledge for me is enough for people for me to realize that person cares, and if they've been a nice member of the community, then I will extend that to them, and so they don't lose out on access. So I hope that is a system. You're saying you're not overly interested in this because you like what Patreon does. For me, this is really interesting for me because I don't have all of that set up through Patreon. I find Patreon very difficult to manage because I don't like the system that they've got set up very well. I find it hard to find my patrons and actually find who they are on Discord to add them. And the other thing, being in the UK, I actually lose out on a substantial amount of revenue through Patreon because it has to be transferred from dollars, because I set Patreon up back in the day before it allowed you to use pounds. So it pays me in dollars, which I then have to have converted to pounds, and I pay a conversion fee on that through another company that I get paid through. So it goes through Patreon to Payoneer to me. So Patreon take their cut, then Payoneer take their cut for converting it, and then it comes through to my bank, which then charge me for taking it.
Well, at the same time, that's kind of how this feels with the Discord premium membership too. It feels like everybody wants to have their slice of the pie.
Yeah, but why not? They're offering an amazing service. What are Patreon offering other than the ability to take people's money? At least you get something for Discord.
But let's be clear. Patreon was there long before Discord was here. You know, it was something that was out there. It may eventually outlive its usefulness. It may. But
I think the more things like this that exist, the better. I understand what you're saying from a competition point of view, and like what we were saying earlier about people doing other people's tutorials. This is a similar sort of thing. Hey, you've done that, so I'm going to do that and make money from it instead. But when there's the person at the other end of it, the viewer, the person that's, you know, using this like me or you, it's a benefit when there's choice, because you can then, the more choice there is, the better competition there is, the more better their rates are going to be for us, not necessarily them, and the better deal we're going to get out of it as a user. You know, if only one company sold TVs, you'd be paying a fortune for your TV. When another company comes along and sells the same thing for a lower price, that first company has to reassess their pricing.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to argue. I mean, like I can tell you now that I know for a fact that I've got Patreons that have never joined Discord. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah,
and
true.
they have no desire to. So I've gotten support from people that I have no clue who they are. They've shown no interest in wanting to join my servers or anything like that, but they've helped support me. Now, if I had that via just Discord only, I would have never had that support from them.
Potentially, but for me, there's no difference in joining Discord than there is in Patreon. You know, it's still it's a free sign-up process. It doesn't cost you any money to actually get an account with them. And they might actually benefit from being part of the Discord system because they might find things that they actually want to be a member of. So I don't know. There's different ways to look at this, clearly. For me, I think this is something that I'm really keen on seeing where it goes, and for you, obviously, the opposite. So
no, I'm interested too. I'm just at this moment, I don't have the option. So if I can't use it, then it's utterly pointless to me right now until it's something that I can experience inside my community and use. Somebody asked me, "Oh, it's the best thing ever." Well, that's good for you, but I don't know because I don't have it. You know,
we won't know until this becomes available and we get some feedback on it. I mean, it might be the worst thing ever, but it looks to me, from what we've read and what we can see on their website, it looks reasonable. It doesn't look. Depends what cut they're taking as well. If Discord is taking 50%, then I would think, no, I'll stick with Patreon. Thank you very much. Or even, you know, YouTube membership now. YouTube allows you to set those things, and that's becoming a more attractive thing than it used to be. That's really coming into its own. It's still absolutely impossible to manage, but it's better than it was. So these things are always improving. And just things like
literally YouTube membership. There's a bot for that, just like the Patreon bot.
Yeah, this could be Twitch doing this. What would it be like if Twitch were doing it?
There's a bot for that too.
Twitch would be, we'll take 90%. We're setting it, and actually you as the creator won't get any money, and we're going to just send you emails every day to beg your subscribers for more money for us. Sorry, can you tell I hate Twitch in the minutes? Like,
yeah, you personal feelings aside, you got some issues for Twitch right now.
Oh, I have with this discoverability thing. Their last sort of public live stream, and then I got an email the other day, and it just irritates me how stupid they think we are and how much they lie to us. They sent maybe I'm wrong, but they sent an email. You'll have got it as well, saying January is coming. This is the best month to be a streamer. We get so many new people to the platform, and you need to be getting them to follow you and subscribe because you're going to get so many more views in January. Slack, what happens in January?
January is the worst month of the year for content creation.
Exactly. This isn't...
Most content creators take January off because it's that bad.
Yeah. This isn't Twitch saying, hey, there's actually genuinely loads of people, so make the most of it. This is as Twitch going, hey, we know January is going to be a rubbish month, so we're going to lie to our partners and our affiliates by telling them it's good in order to get them to drum up more money for us. That's what it is. And they hate it. Why can't they just be honest? We know we're content creators. We've been doing it a long time. They keep trying to tell us things that we know is false.
Yeah, this is the month. December is the month. January is bad.
Here we go. The subject line is unlock more viewers in January. Your biggest month ever unlocked. Show me how in big writing. FoxyNoTail. Every January, tons of new viewers come to Twitch. That means the next few weeks are the perfect time to unlock the sort of growth that takes your community to the next level. To encourage this level up, we're organizing a bunch of awesome drops to reward your viewers for watching your channel. Drop details are coming soon, so keep an eye out. If you decide to stream, here are some useful tips to keep in mind. Spell it out for the noobs. Clear descriptive titles. Chat, chat, chat. Viewers who chat for the first time, etc., etc. Make an impression.
Yeah, I don't sign up for those emails. Yep, no.
Oh, it drives me nuts. I hate it. I hate it so much. Why are they speaking to us like that? Spell it out for the noobs. Oh, geez. Go away, Twitch. Leave me alone.
Don't worry, Twitter will have their cut on it next for paid membership. Just saying. Oh wait,
yeah,
they just launched that. Twitter Blue, right?
Okay, I think we've covered that to death. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we can say about that at all. Other than, we'll keep you posted on what happens with that in the future, I guess. Mm-hmm. Subscribe for more, and don't forget to follow us on Twitch because January is going to be amazing, apparently. Moving on, from that, Slack. What's next? You got a few topics you wanted to discuss.
Well, I saw a few interesting topics.
Before we do this, should we go into the bugs first and have this as a thing after the bugs? Because we've only got a couple of bugs and you don't even have one. Because
I don't even have no
separate
bugs
from
this
the
week.
news, really, don't they?
Yeah. All right. So yeah, hit the bugs. My bug this week, I got nothing. You?
Yeah, I got two, and I don't have a bug report for either of them because I'm too lazy to go and find one, and I run out of time. But I'll try my best before I put this live. First one I've run into, and it's the same thing that I believe we discovered on Truly Bedrock Season 3, but didn't really go into a great deal of detail publicly. And that is, I made a squid farm the other day on Truly Bedrock. I made it in exactly the right place, and I built it the exact right design, and I tested it in creative, worked perfectly in creative, built it on the server, and didn't get any squids. No squids at all spawning in it. I waited till everyone else had gone offline. There was only me online, still no squid spawning in it at all. I flew down to the ocean below. There was a couple of squids spawned, and then that was it. There was nothing else at all spawning. I logged out, logged back in, still nothing spawning. I turned the server off, turned the server back on again, and then things started spawning. There is a problem we've discovered where when a player logs in to the world, whichever part of the world they logged into, the entities in that, the what they call persistent entities in that area will, or even any entities in that area will stay persistent no matter where that player goes in the world until that player logs out and logs in again. But it seems that that's got worse on servers because there was nobody on the world, but they were clearly having passive spawning issues because there must have been something spawned elsewhere. Now, I did run a couple of commands to see if I could detect any entities. It detected a bunch of like chest minecarts as usual and a couple of skeletons, but there weren't any passive mobs there. So I'm not sure what was happening. And when I went on my hunt to find goats and pandas, I had to do 3 server restarts again, just going around the world to try and get passive mobs to spawn because, again, nothing was spawning. I AFK'd at that squid farm I designed. It's a 1-chunk squid farm, and my test world in creative in exactly the same place in the world, I was getting a stack and a half in 5 minutes. On the server, I AFK'd there for 4 hours and got 2 stacks.
Yeah, something be broken there with that stuff still.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really weird. So that's driving me nuts. I haven't found a bug report on that, and I want to write one, but I don't really know how to write that, because there's no real easy way I can sort of say here's how you produce the bug, because I don't know.
Well, it's you remember here, what was it, 2 weeks ago we had our meeting, and during our meeting we were talking about I brought up, hey, why is my creeper farm not working? I've now found that the only way I can get that thing to work is to log in the AFK account. Typically I get online with the SlackLizard account first. I get online, I'm doing things, I bring the AFK account online, I make sure the trident's been thrown, the trident killer's on, I put him in the AFK spot, and nothing. Proverbial nothing will happen. If I log out SlackLizard and log him back in, it starts working.
Yeah, you showed us that in the meeting. That what I found bizarre was that your mob farm wasn't producing any mobs, but the ground below it, when you went down, would produce loads of mobs. But then you'd fly back up again, despawn them, but nothing would spawn in your mob farm. So that says that's a Y level issue.
It's broken, because apparently, well, you know as well as I do, mob spawn from the game does the check from top level down, but it has no issues at the old ground level to spawn mobs, but the ones in the sky, it's just completely broken unless I log out main account. It's like it's got to clear something out of the server's cache or something like that, and then I'll log back in. It's like, oh, wait, right, there's platform here. We're supposed to spawn mobs here. It's a little broken. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's bizarre. The difference is last season in Truly Bedrock Season 3, when we discovered this was causing us a lot of lag. This was causing us a lot of problems because of this. So far, touch wood, in 1.18, there's not any speakable lag because of this. It's not really causing any problems with that. And considering how close we're all basing together, I know it's early on in the season, but there really doesn't feel like there's a big problem. Remember Mr. Beardstone's base in Truly Bedrock Season 3, you couldn't hardly go when you went there, because of all of those entities, whereas this season feels a lot smoother. So I feel like the problems have got worse behind the scenes, because you can't see this one. This is the worst thing. You can't see this bug. You just become aware of it through other means. But it feels like, you know, the somehow or other the performance is improved because of it.
I got a random question for you. I did a stream earlier today, and I was out hunting sheep. I need them for, obviously, a sheep farm. And I was pulling a sheep in a boat. Not a leather farm. I was pulling a sheep in a boat up scaffolding.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was also like 4 other sheep that had followed me over because I was holding wheat in my hand.
Yeah.
The ones on the ground didn't despawn until I got to almost level 100.
Oh, really? Interesting. So vertical lack of despawning there. That's very interesting.
I hadn't really thought of that. Well, that's something we may need to be testing. I could be just going random, but I know for a fact I was streaming. I was going up the scaffolding.
Yeah.
And I was watching the sheep on the ground.
Yeah.
And I was making a joke that, hey, your friends are gonna, just despawn now. They're gonna go away, go bye bye. And I remember looking up at the Y level, and it kept getting higher, and it kept getting higher, and kept getting higher. And I got well over like 140 before they despawned. And my brain did quick math. I was like, ocean level usually 64. I was maybe at 70 when I started. So that's. I'm
amazed you could still see them after distance. They normally go out of render distance by that point, the entity render distance. So that's impressive. On the opposite side of that, you know, when you put an entity in a boat, it doesn't despawn, does it? It becomes persistent, right?
Just in a boat by itself makes it persistent?
Normally, yeah. Remember all of the creepers we had in boats, charged creepers we used to have in boats?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I put a panda in a boat the other day, and I flew away to get some bamboo, and when I came back, the panda had despawned, and I spent hours looking for a panda. So that was really, really, really annoying. But, all sorts of many, maybe it's just a server thing, but yeah, passive mob and hostile mob spawning and despawning issues. But I don't know how to log it because it's not reproducible.
Touch wood, the only one that's been annoying for me has been the creeper farm. Like, it's very slow to get started. I have to do the multiple log out, log back in to get it to start.
Yeah. Which is weird because my mob farm just pours mobs out.
That's so weird. Wonder if it's biome related, Y level related. I don't know. There's so many different variables.
Yeah, I know. And they keep fiddling with things, so we never know. Speaking of fiddling with things, one of the achievements I had to get was to trade with a villager at world height. So I got a villager in a boat, I took it up the scaffolding, and because obviously I was pulling it on a lead, it wouldn't go all the way to the top, so I had to use a piston to get it the rest of the way there. So obviously putting a piston underneath the villager, flicking the lever on the piston, he would go up a block, put something underneath him, and just repeat that until he got to the top, yeah? Seems too simple, doesn't it, Slack? When he was at Y319, one block below world height, I popped the piston underneath him and I flicked the lever, and the piston should have been able to extend upwards by a block because the top of the piston should have reached Y320. The piston wouldn't move. However, if I moved the piston down one block, put a block on top of it so it could push the block to 320, it worked perfectly.
I knew you were going to say that, and that's why I started shaking my head. I know you seen me start shaking my head. That's just really game? Really?
See, there was a bug a few updates, no, not even a few updates ago. I think it was in the betas for 1.18 before 1.18 came out, where a piston at bedrock level wouldn't fire down into the bottom block. It would, you know, a piston wouldn't work at Y0. It would only work at like Y1. And it's like they've gone, oh, we need to shift that down by one. So no, they don't work at 319. They only work at 318. So, yeah.
That seems like the most logical answer to what the problem is right there. You just nailed it. You nailed it. So anyway, let's pull all the code down by one line. Bloop.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was fun. That was a really funny stream. But yeah, I just thought I'd put that in there again. I haven't put a bug report in for that one or searched for one because I ran out of time. But I will do my best after we've done this when I'm editing it. Anyway, so to our discussion topics. This is all on you, buddy.
Well, I found a couple of interesting articles here, and we don't have to go into great details on them, but. Let's go back. 1.18. 1.18. We're missing some features that were supposed to be included in the Caves and Cliffs Part 2, Foxy.
Yes.
What happened to goat horns and bundles and archaeology?
Okay, so bundles. Geez, where do we start on this? So I mentioned this briefly before we started. My memory is terrible. But I have a memory, or at least I have a flicker of a memory that somebody officially said from Mojang, whether it was at one of the old Minecraft live streams that they used to do, or whether it was a Twitter post or something like that. But I'm sure somebody has officially said that archaeology is scrapped, like for good. I'm sure that that's what they said, or at least it's so far on the back burner that it's not going to come out anytime soon because they decided internally it was too un-Minecrafty or something like that. It might be that I'm just remembering rumors or other things from other like influencers or people that have got a good following and I've just reassociated it in my head as official, but I'm sure that's the case, but I might be wrong. So I'm just going to qualify that with I might be wrong. But as far as I'm aware, archaeology is in the bin.
Yeah, it sounds like it went the way of the super duper graphics pack.
Yeah, it's in it's in the same box as that in the Mojang office, I think. As for bundles, I think that the developers have done I think they're hoping that they are just going to quietly fade into nothingness as well. I would be amazed if we see bundles even by 1.20, 1.21, because there were a few advocates for bundles, but I think the main consensus is they don't work and they needed to work differently or at least better by most of the content creators that were shouting about them on Twitter or making videos about them.
They're like, oh, we got this great idea of bundles. And people are like, man, they're like, okay, we're just going to kind of back burner this and hope it goes away and no one ever sees it again.
That gif with the baby running into the room and then realizing there's something and then running away again. That's bundles, I think.
Yeah. Look, guys. Oh,
yeah. Yep. Hey, I got the, oh, no, I ain't got anything. I'll see you later. Yeah. For me, I've had this, I guess it is an argument. I've had a conversation with people about bundles a lot of time. There's a lot of love out there for bundles in the community because a lot of people like the idea of being able to keep your inventory tidy early game when you are out and about and you're collecting seeds and flowers and just stuff that just clutters your inventory. And I get it. There is a definite need for something in the game to help us with inventory management, because inventory management is awful. There's way too many blocks and items in the game. They keep adding more and they haven't given us a reasonable solution for that. Bundles to me are very much like the wandering trader in the fact that he's there early game to trade you with stuff that you might not be able to find locally, but you can't afford anything from him because he's too expensive and you haven't got emeralds yet. Likewise with bundles, they cost rabbit hide, which is expensive because it's hard to get hide from rabbits because they don't drop it very regularly and you need to live somewhere where there are rabbits to get it.
And then let's not even mention how much of a pain they are to chase down sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not exactly easy. If you've got a carrot in your offhand, which you can't do in Bedrock Edition, then it's not too bad. But on Bedrock Editions, it's even harder because you've got to switch between your sword and your carrot, and you've got to have, well, you don't need to have looting, but it helps. But anyway, it won't be an easy thing to get hold of loads of them early game, and you're going to need loads of them because the way that they work, that I find the most frustrating, is that they will take up to a stack of items, or in the case of an unstackable item, one item. So you can put one sword into a bundle, not 64 swords, not 27 swords or anything like that. They're just one sword. I like the idea that you can just go scooping stuff up with these things, but they really are no more functional than a shulker box. And in some ways, they're a lot worse because in order to get, let's say you've got a bunch of bundles on you and you've got one for leaves and you've got one for saplings and you've got one for flowers or something like that. Let's say you're trying to be organized with it and you go, okay, I want a red flower out of this one. My inventory is absolutely jam-packed with stuff, but I just want one item out of this. The only way to get the item out is to completely dump the inventory of whatever's in that bundle out. And if there's 64 items in there, all of a sudden you've got 64 items you've got to put back in again. There's no way to get one out. So it's just, in my mind, it's just not a user-friendly or decent system. I get the idea behind it, but it would drive me nuts doing that.
You know what would be random off topic here? My ideal way of inventory management is if we could open shulkers in our inventory.
Yeah, open shulkers in your inventory, or just, I know Minecraft absolutely hate backpacks for some reason, but a backpack would be useful. If I could say, okay, I want a tool that will allow me to use items out of my shulker box. So I could put, like, say I've got cobblestone in the shulker box and I can put the piece of cobblestone inside of this tool. And when I use this tool, it will place cobblestone out of one of my shulker boxes, or when I'm holding it, it will pick cobblestone up and put it into the shulker box, something like that. So you're not having to put them down, go through them, take them up, put them back in again, because that's just a slow process. You go somewhere and you end up emptying all of your shulker boxes everywhere, and you've got loads of stuff in your inventory, and then you've got to put it all back in again and clear it all up. And it's great that exists, and we've got Ender Chest to do that, but it's still, my Ender Chest has got 27 shulker boxes in, and I need to add more because there's more stuff in the game to carry around with me.
Yeah. An inventory update feels like a necessity at this point in time.
We've been saying it for long enough, haven't we? But then I guess people were screaming about a cave update for long enough, and it finally came. So you never know. Hopefully, we know at least they're thinking about it with the bundles. But I think they're thinking about it from the wrong end. We don't need something early game. Early game is fine. It's late game when you are building stuff and you're building with a big block palette and you're trying to do gradients and you're on the roof and you don't want to. You want to carry 3 or 4 different types of stairs and slabs and walls and glass panes because you want to do all of that building without having to keep going back down to the floor and flying back up to the roof and using all your rockets. You need the space to do it.
That makes sense. Yep. I totally agree with you on that. Totally agree. Late game inventory management, not beginning game.
Yeah.
Wrong stage of gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thoughts anyway. And I know, like I say, I've spoken to a lot of people about this, and there is a lot of love for the early game inventory management. So maybe we could have both, or maybe, there's a compromise to meet in the middle somewhere there. But for me, that's my preference. What was the other thing you said? So we got, goat horns. Goat horns.
Yeah, goat horns. But I still don't see the point in the goat horn. It's kind of like the tadpole, but then again, goat horns. Aside from being something loud and annoying and a nuisance to other players, I mean, I could see me trolling you with that all the time, especially if it's the you love that sound so much. I can think back to some fond memories of us in early seasons of Truly Bedrock and my phone going off and your love for that. It would be such a great trolley tool, but other than that, what's its point?
I still think this is Warden related. Otherwise, why didn't they bring it out in 1.18 with the rest of the stuff? If it's still not in the game, it's because they're not ready to add it in the game yet. I genuinely think it's Warden related. I think they will, when the Warden comes, the goat horn will come in and we will be able to scare the Warden off with it. It all adds up for me. It's a conspiracy that I 100% believe in.
I guess we'll have to see, because that apparently most of that's getting pushed to that brings up another topic here. That brings up another topic. 1.19, the wild update.
Yeah.
But we already know that they're adding frogs.
Yeah.
We already know that they're adding the Warden.
Yeah.
Supposedly the ally. Ally, or how you say it. LA, I'm not sure how you say it.
Yeah.
And we got tadpoles.
Yeah.
And we got fireflies.
Yeah.
Which I've heard nothing on fireflies yet.
Fireflies was showcased at Minecraft Live. They are a particle effect more than anything else, and frogs apparently will eat them. But now they've got frogs eating slimes. So I wonder if they're already moving away from the idea of fireflies. I don't know.
So how many other mobs are we missing? Other mobs? Well, isn't there the chest boat or something? What?
Yeah, chest boat's coming yet. Yeah.
But
mangrove trees, roots, mud.
But Foxy, wouldn't it be even better for you if you were going around in your boat and you were pulling another boat on a lead, your chest boat, right? And you were putting all your early game stuff in there that you had acquired, like your flowers and everything like that. And you got out of your boat, and that boat and your chest boat just disappeared out of existence.
I wonder where you were going with that. Yeah. They both bring back all the stuff you've been carrying, all the stuff that you've managed to get all the way across to your destination, all went back. I think chest boats are going to be about as useful as bundles. I think they're even more useful than bundles in the fact that they're at least decorative, but what's the point in a chest boat? Rivers are not that common in Minecraft. Yes, the oceans are, but if you're going exploring to find stuff and you're having to use a chest boat for a spare inventory, what do you then do with that when you get to land? where do you put all that stuff? All of a sudden, just leave it there. It's all right. Unless you live on a waterway and you can drive right up to your base or road right up to your base, if you're just lake hopping or river hopping miles away, that chest boat is only useful in close proximity to where you live.
And then let's exclude the fact that it's an entity and chunk borders are a thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's fill your chest boat up. Oh, Foxy, you're doing this nice, beautiful river build, and you got lots of shulker boxes inside of your chest boat, and you're getting ready to go, and you're getting to your destination, and you got your chest boat with all your shulker boxes of materials, and you get disconnected from the server, and you log back in, and your chest boat was on the chunk border at the time that the server crashed, and gone.
Let's just assume that those bugs don't exist when we discuss these things. Otherwise, there'd be no point in having anything in Minecraft, I think. But before we do that, it's amazing flying around the Truly Bedrock season, this brand new Truly Bedrock season. We've only been playing for a month and already just seeing boats scattered everywhere that have pinged back from wherever they came from.
There's boats all over my area, and I'm like, where'd these boats come from? I don't even use them.
I know, all the way between my base and my mob farm, there's just boats littered at shorelines. It's crazy. But yeah, let's hope that those bugs at least at some point will go away. But I don't think, if we said, we can't have all of these things because of the bugs, we'd never have anything, would we?
Well, we're going to always notice the bugs because we have a passion for the game.
Yeah, and we put so many hours into it. So many hours, some more than others.
Mm-hmm. Well, does that cover all of our news topics for the week?
Was that it on that? I thought we had more things that had gone missing. Is that everything? I think you're right with that, aren't you?
Yeah, I think we covered just the basics of all of them. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, then. Good. Excellent. That takes us to the Q&A section. Another whole section.
Bum, bum, bum.
Right. Do you want to start this one off?
I am loading it up now because we've now had to turn that into its own separate spreadsheet. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, you start with the first one because that's actually relevant to something you were reading earlier.
Okay. So this one is from Lofty and it says, how many seasons do you think you will make? And I'm assuming that I could take that two ways. That could be how many seasons of TB do you think Truly Bedrock will do regardless of us playing it, or how many seasons will I make or you make on Truly Bedrock? You know, when are we going to quit, even though Truly Bedrock might continue? And the other one is, which episode is your favorite? I can't answer the second part of that because I don't know. My memory doesn't work well enough to do that. Slack will go, do you remember this episode? And I'll go, oh, yeah, that was brilliant. And then that just becomes my favorite because I can't remember any other ones. So unfortunately, I can't tell you that one, Lofty. But I would like to say that I will be a part of TB until TB goes away or it dies or whatever. I can't make that guarantee because it might go on for a long time. Could be there in 10 years' time, could be there in 20 years' time. I don't know what I'm going to be doing then, but it's very unlikely I'll still be making Minecraft videos at that age. You never know. But yeah, I have no plans to go anywhere else. I love Truly Bedrock. I really enjoy making the videos, and my videos are being very successful at the moment, and I want to continue doing it. So yeah, I'm going to go on for as long as I can.
As far as how many seasons do I see myself? Yeah, I'll be here to the very end, or unless something major life event wise changes. You know, I have no intentions of going anywhere. I can't speak for where I'll be in a year. I can't speak for where I'll be in 5 years or 10 years. Nobody knows that. But I have no intentions of going anywhere, and I love TB.
Yeah.
Now, as far as which episode is my favorite, there's so many categories. Which was my favorite to record? Which was my favorite to edit? Which was my favorite of this category and that category? And there's a few offhand different ones. You know, the quad spawner with Foxy, the Wither Skulls for Days. And honestly, one of my favorite episodes is probably the one that's got the least views on my channel. It actually goes back to season 0 when Foxy stole my woodshop.
I really enjoyed season 0. We had such a good time on season 0. It was brilliant. It was so close. We all collaborated all the time. There was never a day, I don't think, that went past where we weren't in voice with somebody or other doing something stupid. It was great. Yeah. I don't mean that negatively towards the other seasons. It's just grown in such a way that it's become a bigger thing. Whereas back then it was just fun. It was just playtime, wasn't it? Season 0.
Oh yeah. Season 0, we had that day 1 collab. And then the next day I got together with Loy and recorded for like 12 hours gathering up withers just so Silent could fall into a lava ravine and lose them
obsidian.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lose them all. It's just,
yeah, good times.
It was an interesting season. It was an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I would probably say my favorite episodes come from season 0, just because I had so much fun with the storyline stuff when Bedrock Edition actually allowed me to do it without changing skins of my characters or having heads coming out of my arm sockets or even just not being able to log them in anymore. You know, I had a lot of fun with that. I had a lot of fun with Geraldine. I had a lot of fun with my time machine. I had a lot of fun. It was great fun, that one. I enjoyed it as a whole.
Right. So the next one on our list comes from Lucas.
The fan
art. Did we cover
person.
This question?
No, we did the feedback, but we didn't do the questions.
Okay. So the first question, it's 2-part questions here. The first one is, if you could add any mechanic to the next update, what would it be?
Dual wielding.
Yeah, I think I'm totally in agreement with you. I don't even need to question it. Dual wielding. And the second part of that would be, if you could add a mob to Minecraft, what would it be?
Dual wielding.
Yeah, dual wielding. Yep. Sounds good. Yeah. Give us dual wielding.
It's really difficult thinking about what mob you can add to Minecraft. There's quite often I'll be playing the game and I'll think, this would be really good to have one of those at this particular point. But again, it comes down to like circumstances at the time. I would like a little bit more of a challenge. I'd also like more dungeony things. I'd like it if there was more of Minecraft dungeons, but in the main game. I'd like it if there were, you know how we've got the end, what's it called? The end lives. It's not a dungeon, is it? The
dragon?
No, where you find the end portal. Jeez, my brain's gone dead.
Oh, Stronghold. You want quest related stuff?
Yeah, more strongholds. Like, have you ever played the Twilight Forest mod, or it's part of loads of mod packs?
Seen it.
Yeah,
seen it.
Basically, that's the whole theory of that. Is you find all of these places where there's underground dungeons, and they've got different layouts, they've got different bosses, they've got different areas, just more secrets, more fun stuff to find underground. I would love. I'm really hoping that we get a little bit of that with these deep dark cities, or what the ancient cities that they're going to be calling them, where the Warden's going to live. I'm hoping we're going to get a sense of that, but I feel like they're going to be quite few and far between, and probably, designed to be more of a scary experience than actually finding anything like really exciting. But yeah, I'd like that. I'd like more of a choice for a challenge rather than just being on the surface and a zombie spawns or a creeper spawns or a skeleton spawns. I want to go somewhere and know that these things are going to spawn in that are special and are harder, and I can go and choose to do that.
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting for sure. I would love to see some additions like that.
Yeah. The next one, did you have a mob?
As far as mobs, oh dear God, no. No. I honestly feel we've got too many mobs. They keep adding pointless mobs. Dolphin, now frogs, axolotls. Sure, they're cute, but they
wow.
I feel they're pointless.
Okay.
They're
Frogs are going to be the new
Okay.
slime farm, Slack. I mean, granted, they can't do anything with big slimes or the medium slimes, but they, for baby slimes, they're the place to be.
We don't need it. We don't. We already. We can. There's already multiple ways to farm it. We don't need.
Okay.
Not need.
Fair enough.
Okay. Anyways, yes. Mm-hmm.
From my Discord, Khaleesi, otherwise known as Blue Shigatsu, says, I want to hear more about the first interactions between you and Slack when meeting. It sounds interesting and I wanted to hear more. Would you go into that again for us listeners? This is kind of a bit feedbacky as well as a question, but there is a question there. Again, this comes down to my terrible memory. Slack always reminds me of all of the fun stuff we've done together. He'll say, do you remember when we did this? And that was really funny. Or do you remember how we did that? Like, it was only like the first couple of days we've been together and then this has happened. And like, he showed me pictures today from 3 years ago when Truly Bedrock first started and we were like in voice chat together, organizing it all. And I don't remember any of these things. I know they happened, but I couldn't tell you what, when, or how. So I would love to go into more detail about stuff like that, but you need Slack for that one. So Slack, what do you think?
Oh God, there's so many stories. There's so many different stories and so many different things, interactions.
Give us a story that we're allowed to tell on the radio, on the podcast, that I won't be too embarrassed about.
Okay. All right. So, a story. Let's go to season 1, The Witch Hut.
Yeah.
And let's go to the episode where we went farming wither skulls.
Okay.
So there was quite a few things that happened in that episode. That episode right there was a recording session where me and you had been on for like 12 hours that day.
Yep.
At the end of that one, we're like, whoever called who this morning, don't do it again.
Yeah.
That episode had the birth of a lot of things in it. That was the birth of Expert Level 99 in that episode.
Yeah.
That was also the birth of the Diamond Alliance.
Yeah.
And just all around a good episode. That was the whole Netherrack, the mountain of the Netherrack love. Yeah. And that was the episode I almost quit on.
Was that because basically you felt that I was pushing you to your limits recording for so long because we were just recording all day? No.
I almost quit. That was my hinge episode for me. I almost quit.
Oh, it was the edit, wasn't it?
It was the edit.
Yeah,
yep. I was on a
now.
computer that was a potato.
Yeah.
And it took me about 12 hours to edit what I wanted to edit. I went to render it out, and every time I went to render it out, my computer crashed.
Yeah, I remember you saying now. And then when you were rendering certain parts, it was like glitching a little bit, and it was weird.
Oh, the video's horrible. It's constant freeze frame. It's a constant freeze frame. If you go watch it back, and I broke down. I legitimately broke down, just sitting here in my chair crying. So people who want to say, "Oh, it's such an easy," no, there's hard times.
Oh man,
I died. I died inside. That was the episode I almost quit. Yet there was so many good things that came out of that episode.
Yeah, there were amazing, and it's the episodes like that when you realise that you for whatever reason your audio hadn't recorded, or you recorded the wrong monitor and all you got is a black screen, and they are so heartbreaking. Yesterday it wasn't a heartbreaking moment at all, but it was really frustrating. I'd been editing my episode 9, which is going to be coming out between Christmas and New Year. And I got nearly to the end. I needed a few more clips. I got nearly to the end and I went to save it. And for some reason, DaVinci Resolve just didn't save it. And I thought, well, that's weird. So I thought, oh, well, it's probably auto-saved it. So I'll close DaVinci Resolve. And it came up with, do you want to save this? I was like, yes, I want to save it. So I clicked save and nothing happened. So then I went, okay, well, I'll make a backup. I'll save project as something else and try and save it something else.
Yep.
And it wouldn't do anything. So I went online quick before I closed it. And I found that there was this bug that's been there since like version 14 that occasionally, for some reason, it just won't allow you to save it. So, and it's all because the autosave messes up at some point. So I was like, oh, well, it autosaves really regularly. I probably only lost like 5 minutes of night edit. It'll be fine. Closed it up, opened it up again, and it hadn't. I was back literally at the end of my first clip. I'd recorded 57 clips for that episode, and I was back at the beginning of my first one, so I had to do the entire edit again.
I can feel that. Oh, that hurts. I can feel that in my chest. That's an open it, and you just got punched in the gut.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest with you, I wasn't that annoyed because this season I've actually been doing really lazy editing because last season I put in so much effort into my editing, and we had the, hey, come on up in this episode, and then we had previously, and I was doing stuff like that, and we had crazy time lapses and making everything go with the music and doing like talking between clips, and there was a lot of work went into those edits. Whereas this one, I'm just recording, cutting out the rubbish, putting it in, recording, cutting out the rubbish, putting it in, dropping some music on it like I used to do. And it's going down really well for people. That's clearly what people want to see from me from my channel. So many comments this season going, hey, Foxy, your content's really improving. I'm loving every episode. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, let me just go back to what I was doing.
Yeah, like 3 years ago. Perfect. Yeah. Thanks, guys. So, yeah, I wasn't too frustrated. It only took me sort of another half an hour to 45 minutes to put that back together again. But it was... sometimes you just get something right. You get like, oh, yeah, the timing and that's perfect, and it goes really well with the music there, and the joke at that bit's perfect. And then you go to do that a second time, and you don't get it the same, and it's frustrating because I did get that before. What did I do differently? And you can't. Yeah. So, oh well.
You can't replicate it always. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many stories. Just so many. Like, oh God, YMCA. Stop fiddling with the radio. Super Redstone.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 nights ago, I can't remember why, I went back and I watched the end of season 0 again, your perspective and mine. And at the end of mine, I included bonus feature outtakes.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And there's a scene, you remember, you probably don't remember. This is one of those where I'm going to have to remind you, you recorded a clip and you were like, oh crap, I got to do it again. I was in creative.
Yeah, that's like we've just done one of those. We've done loads of those times.
Yeah. So then like 2 minutes later, I went to record a clip and I was like, shh, quiet. And I started recording. And I went to grab my rockets to go fly, and I was like, "Oh crap, cut! I got to do it again. I'm in creative." And it was just your reaction was like, "Oh yeah, what? Yeah. Oh God, it was great. Love it. So many good things.
No,
so many good things.
I just want to point out there that Slack is talking about a story video that we did on an old world download. We don't record. We're not in creative on Truly Bedrock Survival. The survival server doesn't have cheats enabled. I couldn't put us in creative if I wanted to. We are 100% in survival on that. But when we do story stuff, we generally take a download of the world and we'll go into that and we'll create it all. And we'll move stuff about so we can create interesting stories. And of course, we're going to use creative mode for that. But all of the work you see on Truly Bedrock, everything that's in the world download, everything that we give you and show you on screen in that world in survival is 100% survival.
Mm-hmm. Like, remember when you built the time machine and we recorded for like 45 minutes? Just me and you talking about stuff, and then at the very end you're like, I can't use none of that because I said that I didn't build this yet. I was in my inventory multiple times and I had all the items that I'd used to build it. You're like, I can't use none of that, and I was like, let's just record it all again.
Yeah. Oh, so many things again. We got better at that over the years though, pulling the wool over people's eyes.
Yeah. Like your amazing Blaze farm. Mm-hmm.
What was wrong with my Blaze farm?
You stayed on fire inside of it constantly.
Yeah, but apart from that, what was?
Or what about your great idea when we were doing the super redstone pit?
I said one story Slack. Carry on.
We were doing the super redstone bit, and we're like, how can we make this explode? And you're like, well, we'll put TNT underneath the redstone. You're like, well, that's a bright idea. TNT under the redstone. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you remember that when we was trying to blow you up with that super redstone? You couldn't
kill me.
die. We put like
it wouldn't kill me.
30 end crystals in there. We put TNT in there. We did everything.
Yeah.
In the end, we had to have a second account that I was pressing with a different finger button on a command block just to kill you, because it didn't matter how many times we blew you up with no armor on in survival, you wouldn't die.
Yep.
We must have redone that clip about 3 or 4 times and rebuilt the bleeding thing.
It's at the end of that episode. I left all that in as bonus footage. Yep. Oh my god, it's hilarious.
Oh,
absolutely hilarious.
Let's move on to we've got 3 questions I can see from your Discord. What we got?
Okay.
Jeez.
Okay, the first one's from Mumsy Wiggly, and it says, "What do you like the most about being part of such a large community?"
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
A large community, what, in terms of Minecraft as a whole, in terms of our own individual communities, guessing, or Truly Bedrock?
I'm guessing as Truly Bedrock as a whole, maybe. I'm not sure. You know, I still don't consider that I have my community as a large community to this day. I don't think we ever will consider ourselves large.
No.
I think we always continue to push our goals forward.
Yeah, there's always much bigger communities to compare yourself again, and I don't like bragging unless I'm doing it in a funny and tongue-in-cheek way where I'm just like, oh yes, you know what they call me, I'm Foxy, good looking, incredibly skillful, really good at everything, no-tail. You know, when I do stupid stuff like that, I'm
Foxy Big Brain.
Yeah. Expert level 99. When it comes to size of community, we do have, realistically for us, we've got big communities now. My Discord's got over 4,000 people in it now. I've got a lot of subscribers. I've got a lot of followers on Twitch. You've got a lot of followers on Twitch. You've got a lot of subscribers. You've got a big Discord. You know, they are large, but when you compare them to people that are just with millions of subscribers and they've hit the Discord, how many people that you can actually have in your community as a limit, then they're the large ones. But I think ours are large, but I don't like to say that they are because it makes you feel like you're being big-headed, doesn't it? Oh, well, I've got a big community around me, so I can do what I want. What I like about being around a large community, what I like being around our communities, forget the size of them, just our communities, is that it is a community. It's a group, generally speaking, most of the time, of like-minded people that share a common interest that you just can connect with. And you don't get that in real life. You know, you don't get that going to the pub with your mates or meeting people at work or going to school. There's always people there that don't agree with you, and you're holding back and you're reserved and you can't say this. You're a bit worried about saying that, or you're nervous about this person because they're new to the group. But you don't feel like that there. You feel like you belong and you feel like it's great. At least I do. You know, that's how I feel in the Discords.
Yeah, I think the community aspect of all this is the most amazing side of this all. Now, the reason I say that is because at first glance, if you see me, if you're walking down the street and I'm walking down the street, you're more than likely not going to say nothing to me. Let's be honest. You're not going to say nothing to me. But through the love of a game, we've become friends.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's a friendship that will last longer than the game.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just me. It's not just you. It's not just anyone else. It's that people have met other people inside of these communities too.
Yeah.
They've developed their own friendships from people from different walks of life, from different sides of the country, from different sides of the world, and became real life friends. And it's all a catalyst effect from a game.
Yeah.
The love of a game.
It is.
Right. You ready for the next question?
Yeah. 2 more.
Okay. Next one's from Adria Bloodstone. And it's, if you could go back to any of the seasons and do something different, what would it be and why?
Okay. Generally speaking, I'm happy with how things have gone. I absolutely loved season 0. I always will. I think it's because it's the season we all got together. It's the one that started everything. It just felt new and fresh and exciting. And there was always that feeling the whole time that I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I'm playing with these people. It's so exciting. I built the best things I've ever built. I did the best things that I'll probably ever do because, well, even though they're not, I'm always improving. Things are getting better. My build styles are getting better. But I felt more involved in that in a strange sort of way. if I had a choice, I'd probably never have ended that one. I'd have had that feeling forever, but that wouldn't have worked. But realistically, the one thing that I wish I'd done differently is I wish I hadn't dropped off so much in season 3. I made the wrong decision with season 3. I made the wrong decision of how I was going to go about it, about changing how I edit my videos, about pushing too hard in the wrong direction. And as a result of that and mental health issues, I lost interest, and I lost interest in the game, in Minecraft as a whole, for a large chunk of season 3. And I let it all sort of start falling apart. My consistency with live streams fell off. My consistency with videos fell off. And I just sort of ended up in a bit of a downward spiral. So I wish that hadn't happened. That's just life. There's nothing I could have done about it. I made a decision. I made the wrong one, and I've paid for that. But now season 4's kicked off, and I've had that chance to do it again, which is, you're asking what you would do different. Well, yeah, it's like season 4 is that chance, this opportunity to do it again, to do something different. And I have. And I've gone back to how I used to do it, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm still pumped for it, and I'm still excited every time I record an episode, and I'm still looking forward to the next time I can log on and record an episode. So, yeah, if I could change anything, it would be season 3, just my approach to it. But otherwise, I don't have an issue with anything I've done. I wouldn't change a build or a farm or anything like that, I guess.
No, I wouldn't go back and change nothing directly. There's a few things that I didn't get finished to the degree that I want. Like, I never did finish the witch hut properly. I never did do all the custom trees around there. I didn't put in enough fog effect rivers. Looking back at hindsight, hey, there's reasons why things didn't get done. We didn't know about the unbreaking bug back then.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what was affecting us back then. We didn't know it. And so there's a lot of things that were incomplete. And even with me in season 3, there was stuff incomplete, but I wouldn't go change it. All of that has helped drive me to be a better content creator and a better Minecrafter and have more fun with it. And as Foxy was sitting there saying all that, it got me to thinking too, I really let the ball drop on season 3 too. And I think part of that, I think one of the hard things, and I think maybe I'm wrong on this, and you can judge me on this one too and give your feedback on this. We went into season 3, we knew it was going to be a short season.
Yeah. Yeah.
We knew it was only going to be 6 months.
Yeah.
We knew that from the beginning. Usually people about mid-season start to hit a little bit of a burnout. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been working on a big project for a long, long time. It's time to slow down or change gears or something like that. Well, for a series that was only going to be 6 months, you didn't really even get a chance to get a big project in, let alone. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard.
Yeah, it was. And then, as a result of that, from my perspective, I didn't bother to go and find a base location. I stuck at spawn, and I'm really glad I did that. I really enjoyed working on the spawn area. And then, because we were doing that, all of my content was farms. It's the only thing I could do because I wasn't building anything. So, and I think that alienated quite a lot of people who watch my channel. So one of the things I'm making sure I'm not doing this season is just farms. And when I do a farm video, it's not just, hey, this is how it works. This is what I'm doing. This is what it looks like in the end. Like today's video that came out was me singing stupid songs in the nether and pretending I got blown up by a ghast and trolling everyone by throwing a clip of me dying in creative in just so that they thought I had, and then telling them that I fooled them. Just throwing in something fun into the episodes. I went through some of my YouTube statistics in my video today because I'm really happy with how people are responding to my videos. So it's not just the same boring, because it is for some people just the technical stuff. If everything's just technical, you're alienating the people that are coming to you for the fun, and that's what my videos have been missing, is that fun. So that's my focus now, is fun.
Well, I want to say something here, and you might agree or you might disagree with me. When me and you first started doing a lot of collab, I've had so many comments and suggestions. Oh, when are you going to do a collab with Foxy again? When are you going to do that? When are you going to do that? When are you going to do that? I love them. But I also noticed the last couple of years, the only collabs we did was farms.
Yeah, we did. We haven't had much fun, have we?
No, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but if we go back to season 0, we've literally been reminiscing about season 0 during this podcast here. And that was,
we didn't have any farms.
No farms together. None.
We didn't have many farms on the server. You had your iron farm and I had a fish farm, and that was about it. We didn't really have any other farms, did we?
Yeah. No. And then season 1, let's go back to season 1. A lot of our collabs were us building shops together, end raiding, gathering stuff. We didn't make none of these farms.
Yeah.
Somewhere, it was season 2. Season 2, we started just all of our collabs were farms.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all we did was farm. And as good as those numbers were for views, I think it kind of made us lose content on what we do for content.
Yeah, absolutely. It did sort of change the focuses completely. And I think that comes down to not only the fact that we were getting nice views for farm videos, and me and you talk about our analytics. These videos we've noticed are getting good views, so let's make more of those. And there is a lot of that, but there's also, hey, I've just done 2 seasons of just prattling about and not really doing anything. I want people to take me a bit more seriously this season. Don't forget we had copper thrown into all of that as well, and we had that. I don't want people to just think I'm making this for kids. I want to be more serious, so I'm going to start focusing on the more serious side of YouTube. And that sort of that attitude has stuck with me a bit as well. So you are going to chop and change a little bit as time goes on. But I think for me to realize that I need to remember where the fun is and keep that balance.
You need to be able to do solo content and find that balance.
Yeah.
You need to. You need to be able to stand on your own feet and be happy with your channel and be entertaining as well, and not just all about just nonstop collab.
Yeah. Speaking of collab, Slack, probably not the perfect conversation for a public podcast, but as much as me and you are meeting up once a week to do this podcast, we're not really meeting up a great deal in game, Slack. We've only done one collab this season.
Yeah, well, can we make an agreement if we do collabs that they're not always going to be farm related then?
I would prefer that, to be honest with you, because that's kind of off-putting reason to do a collab, because you're going to be just spending hours just slapping out an area. No!
I mean, some of our most fun has been our impromptu things.
Yeah.
Our impromptu, just silly, let's get together and go build a giant snowman, Yeah. So who knows? Do you want to build a snowman?
No, I don't actually. Can we do something else?
Oh,
no, sorry. I'm busy that day.
Wow. I didn't say what day. You're like, well, that year.
Yeah, I'm just busy. Slack. Now, if we can come up with when you set something in stone and you've got to do this at this time, then it becomes quite frustrating because you feel a little bit trapped in. But I do think we do need to make it more of an effort to meet up more. That's not just the podcast. Although I'm really enjoying this. I really enjoy this.
I'm really enjoying the podcast too. It's a definite break from the norm. That's Minecrafty, but not Minecrafty. Yeah. I had some comments. They're like, it really just sounds like you're 2 old friends talking. And it literally is. It's no games, no recording, no retakes, it's just us talking.
What do you mean old? Jeez. Wow. Anyway, last question.
You are old. Old and bald.
Wow.
What? Who said that?
Shut up. Leave me alone.
Okay, last question. From Richie. I'm pretty sure that's Richie Cranier too that did this.
Okay.
Pretty sure. If you could add 1 block to the game, what would it be? I'll let you go first. I already know what mine is.
Yeah, you go first because I'm
okay.
I've got a good one.
Okay, so they added in here a while back. It came out of the education edition version of the game, I guess. The light blocks.
Oh,
they're invisible light sources.
Yes.
Literally like torches from light level 1 to light level 16 or 15 or whatever it is. And they're invisible. I would want a way to craft that in survival.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand the feeling that you would want to do that. There's an argument there that wouldn't that make, isn't that a bit of fake if you've got light emitting from somewhere that doesn't have light?
Okay, it says that when we literally dig up a piece of dirt, we put a torch down, we put the dirt down, and we turn it into a path block.
And it shines through, which doesn't work on Java Edition anymore, I might add.
No.
And there's no underlighting on Java Edition. There used to be, but they stopped that.
Carpet, same way people do that with carpet. There's 100 ways to do it. And if you wanted to argue that point, you can make it in-game. Like we were talking about this earlier, obviously, about how like on one of my servers, we use blaze rods and bottles to craft them.
Yeah.
Make it more difficult to craft. Make them in rods and bottles.
Wouldn't it be better if they were just more forms of lighting rather than invisible blocks that just emit light randomly?
Say again?
Wouldn't it be better if there was just more different types of lighting, like more variations of a sea lantern, maybe like a one that looked a bit more like a light bulb that was clear, that emitted light and had a glowing bit in the middle, or just different variations of a light rather than an invisible light?
I got an idea for a pack for you, Foxy.
Go on.
You know, you love doing things with dyes. What if you could dye the different lights in the game?
That will be possible. In fact, it probably is in experimental now, but I believe that should be possible once. It will be a behavior pack rather than a resource pack, but once those experimental block features come out, I think you'll be able to interact with them in that way and therefore change their texture.
Would it be possibly a block or an entity?
Be a block.
Okay, so you hit it with orange dye, you turn a sea lantern from the light blue to orange. Same with torches, same with glow lichen and all that.
That would be great. I don't know if you could change the color of the light that's emitted, but you could certainly change the color of the block.
No, I don't think you could do that. But if you could change the color of the block, that would be helpful all by itself.
I'm going to have to try that. I'll give it a go. I don't know. I don't know if you can actually interact. I haven't done a great deal with custom blocks because I've been waiting for them to come out of experimental, but because they keep chopping and changing what you can do with those, but definitely worth looking into. I know there are certain things you can do with interacting them, but I think... In fact, I did do some testing with, I made a video about whether or not we should keep mob heads as entities and keep their ability to be moved and around and sort of manipulated with dies, or if we should move them to mini blocks because like actual blocks made no lag. And the only way I could get the die to do anything, or the block to change texture, was to stand on it. You could register a player stand on it. But I did have it rotating and I can't remember what I did to rotate it. So maybe there is an interaction thing there. I'll have to double check. But yeah, even if it's just like clicking it a few times to cycle through different colors, that could be a thing. But I agree with you, by the way. I was just playing devil's advocate there. I do like the idea of having light blocks in the game, because if you want to make a cave just slightly more ambient without splattering lanterns or things all over it, you could just, use a low level light block just to see the edges of it and just make the experience a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, well, it's like I've been playing a lot with glow lichen this season already. My problem with it is it's just an ugly color.
Oh, so ugly.
It's ugly. If I could dye that.
I don't even pick it up.
If I could dye that. Well, I've been using it because it's a nice alternative to torch spam. But if you could dye that, hit that with a dye, change its texture up a little bit. Like when I put it on dirt, if I could hit it with brown dye and turn it like more brown so it just looked like glowing vine dirt in there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Definitely something to look into, 100%. I like that idea.
Okay.
So my block, what I would add to the game, is not necessarily a block in the decorative form or something you would use for building. I want pipes. I've always wanted pipes. Whenever I've played modded, I love pipes. I just want pipes, Slack. I want to be able to put a pipe between a chest and another chest and items go from one chest to the other. Or, I just want pipes. And I know you can say, you can do that with hoppers, but no, I want pipes. Give me pipes.
Can you retexture the hopper?
You can't change the shape of existing vanilla blocks, sadly, with texture packs. There's no can't do anything with the model.
I'd be fine with pipes as long as we could increase the speed, so it's like double hopper speed or something.
Oh yeah, be faster than hoppers, and they can go upward. They can go in any direction. You can also have cross sections. So like if you get a pipe like that goes in multiple directions, so you can have, it's like a hopper but with the spout facing in every direction, and you connect to any side of it.
Could you be like stackable items take a right turn, non-stackable take a left? That would be nice.
Well, you're getting very complicated now. You can in modded there are filters to do that, and there's different types of pipes that do that. But I think you've got to assume that Bedrock Edition or the Mojang guys for Java, well, for both versions, are going to be like, no, that's too not Minecrafty. We don't like filters. If they liked filters, they'd have already given us an inventory update, I think. But just the simple put two pipes between two things, or put a pipe between two things and items move from one to the other would be enough for me. I'd be happy with that. I just like pipes.
and I've tried to get into modded. It feels too much. Like when we did that whole modded
Sky Factory 4.
As soon as I logged in, it's too much. It's too much. It's like I'm gonna have to learn a whole new game.
That's the problem with a lot of these mod packs. a lot of these mod packs are just, there's so much going on in them because they want to include all of the popular mods and they want everybody to like promote their mod pack online and make videos on it. They're just over the top. Grab yourself a couple of mods like you like the sound of and just put them into your Java game and just see how you get on with them. There's some like really nice simple ones that just add more blocks or add different types of lighting like we were talking about, or add like backpacks in, or just add a little bit of Ease of Life stuff. And then you can experiment with ones that give you new dimensions, so you've got a new area to explore, and you don't have to have all of these computers and pipes and a sugarcane that grows to infinity and different types of armor and all of that crazy stuff. Just put the things in you like. There's a mod for everything.
2 days flying, somebody brings me over. Two days into the world, somebody brings me a jetpack. Huh?
Yeah.
No.
How did you make that? Well, there's 78 different types of copper ore in the game, but if you find the one that's slightly more yellow and you put that in an industrial skin tabulator, then if you frankly with that with some what? Just let me borrow yours, please.
I don't understand. Do I need gunpowder? Gunpowder? Well,
yeah.
You need.
Well, there's 78 different types of gunpowder in the game. And yeah, okay. No, thank you, mate.
Creeper 3BA drops the one that you need.
Yeah, but they're not actually technically creepers because they're upside down and they've got blue skin and they don't go bang. They actually implode and suck everything from your world into them. Oh, great. Good. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to leave us a question or any feedback, then you can email us at theminecraftupdatepod@gmail.com. Put question in your subject line if you're asking a question. Put feedback in your subject line if you're leaving feedback. Or just like everyone else has bothered to email, don't bother and we'll just figure it out.
That's true.
I think that is probably, now that we are, I know we had a bit of a break in the middle while we read that article and went to the toilet, but we are on my clock pushing 2 hours and 43 minutes into this week's podcast. Yeah. So we've probably done enough, Slack.
Yeah, I would say we've done enough. I would say, as a reminder to the people out there, because this has been an exceptionally long podcast, that we would really like your feedback on other content creators, more or less making the same farm as other content creators.
Yeah, very, very much interested in your feedback on that early discussion we had. I also would just like feedback on this podcast. What do you think about it? What would you like to see from it? Is there a section of it that you like more than any others? Is there, what do you want to get out of it? That's yes. Really important to us, especially in these early days of starting it, because we are shooting in the dark to a certain extent. And the other thing I'd like to say before we go and obviously we're going to be streaming. I don't know, what's your schedule like over Christmas?
It's the same as normal. Christmas Eve I will be spending with my family, but Christmas Day I will be live. I've made it a point every year since I've been able to stream that I go live on all the holidays. Now, I know that may sound weird, but I know for a fact that there's some people out there that don't have families. And I don't mean that in a bad way, or I don't mean that in an influential way or nothing like that, but I know for a fact there's people out there. There's people even in my community that I know don't have time, don't have no one to spend the holidays with. So I go live so that I can spend some time with them. So.
Yep. Well, that's very nice of you. Now, I was thinking of doing something on the actual Christmas day, but it turns out I am going to be having plans after all, because my kids don't come to me until the 26th. So I was going to do something on Christmas Day, but I'm not now, sadly. But what I am going to do is take the entire week off until the 3rd of January, because the kids are off school and I'm not going to be able to do anything. So there will be videos, but there won't be any streams from me unless I can wangle it somehow or other for the next week, sadly. But on a positive note, Merry Christmas for tomorrow. I hope you get everything you wanted.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Is that it?
Yeah, I have nothing else covered today.
Oh, all right then. Fair enough.
Bye.
Good. No, wait a minute.
Okay.
We got to say, we've both got Discords, we've got Twitter, it's all in the description. I think they're probably not. They've gone already. I don't think there's anyone here left.
No, at this point, they've all fallen asleep, But
the music's playing. Yeah. It's just me and you, I think.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Foxy.
Merry Christmas. It's 28 minutes past 11, so I should be in bed by now.
I don't know what else to say, man. Watch out for Santa.
Well, I always do. I've never caught him yet. But this is the year. I'm pretty sure this is the year. We didn't get him. I'm going to have a word with him. Were you coming down my chimney all these years? Who do you think you are? Not once you rung the doorbell and asked if you can.
Well, has he ever left you good presents, though?
Oh, yeah, he always does. Yeah, I think that's guilt, though, more than anything. He realises he's made a mistake coming into someone's house he doesn't belong in, and he's like, I better leave something here just in case they notice.
Oh,
he always eats me mince pies, though, and me carrots, and drinks all my milk. And I don't even leave it out.
Thankfully, he doesn't find the turkey, right?
No, yeah, well, I keep that under lock and key.
Okay, well,
yeah.
that's a good thing, then.
Yeah. Anyway, Merry Christmas, Slack.
Merry Christmas,
Hope you have an amazing Christmas and a happy holidays.
You too.